Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Naruto gets Goku wife pregnant. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. The Supreme Kai and Kibito had traveled to edge of the realm of the Kais in order to repair a breach in the dimensional barrier. After a thorough inspection of the tear, the two began their work of closing the rift. Both were calmly floating in a meditative stance. The work was almost done until the Supreme Kai suddenly sensed something and his eyes widened. "Kibito, someone's in there, we must get them out," exclaimed the Supreme Kai. "Impossible." King Yema's men investigated this. It wasn't a forced tear, just result of an old extinct galaxy collapsing, responded Kibito. "I just sensed them arriving now." A tear from an adjacent realm opened quickly and they were sucked into this one before the breach closed. "Rescue them before I complete the repair," ordered the Supreme Kai. "Right away, sir," replied Kibito as he vanished into the void. He appeared to find an unconscious blonde-haired teen floating through the rift between worlds. The boy's black and orange clothes were ragged and his body looked badly burned. "You are very lucky that the Supreme Kai sensed you. You surely would have died if left here after the tear closed," stated Kibito before hefting the young man over his shoulder and teleporting out of the rift. "I've got him, sir," declared Kibito, now outside the rift standing next to Supreme Kai. "Very good, Kibito, now let me finish this here." Supreme Kai sent out one last pulse of energy and the rift closed. He turned and looked at the boy Kibito held over his shoulder. "I sense a tremendous amount of latent energy in this boy, we must investigate this," thought the Supreme Kai. "Master, should I drop him off with one of your subjects?" inquired Kibito. "No, Kibito, we will take him with us. I must investigate this boy myself," replied the Supreme Kai. "Sir, he is still mortal, we couldn't possibly bring him," responded Kibito. The Supreme Kai cut him off. "Kibito, on my initial scan of this boy, I felt latent energy that rivaled the beast I sealed away several millenniums ago. Perhaps we have found a counter if the monster should ever be released again." Yes, sir," stammered Kibito, his eyes widening to the size of dinner plates. The two then phased out of view and appeared back on the Supreme Kai's planet. Kibito laid the boy down on the ground before kneeling and beginning to heal his injuries. "Sir, there are conflicting energies within his body. I will be unable to awaken him until they come into harmony," reported Kibito. The Supreme nodded. "That is fine, Kibito. We can scan his mind to find the source of the problem after his physical injuries are healed." "Yes, sir," replied Kibito. After a few minutes the healing was complete and Kibito then replaced the boy's tattered clothing with a dark blue version of one of their outfits. "The first step is to scan his mind. Not only may we find the reason behind this state, we'll find about him as well," stated the Supreme Kai as both he and Kibito took a meditative stance. Soon the most recent memory of the young man flashed through their minds. Flashback. Within the vast expanse of the main Akatsuki hideout, the ground rumbled as the Gedo Mazo statue pulsed with power. "You stubborn fool, what have you done?" exclaimed Madara. "Invaded your base and sealed you inside to ensure your destruction," replied Naruto. "Naruto, I won't let you end my ambition. Konoha will be destroyed," raged Sasuke. "Forget about that, you imbecile, we must retreat," yelled Madara as he initiated his Mangekyo Sharingan technique only to be stunned as it failed. "What is this? Why can't I open the time-space rift? Say hello to the final gift of Itachi, the power to block your time, space ninjutsu. Since the founding of our village you have been meddling and destroying lives left and right. The Uchiha clan and its corruption ends here. Demonic Sage final technique, self-destruction," declared Naruto, standing proud with his fist clenched and a defiant look in his eye. Madara, Sasuke and the rest of the Akatsuki could only look on in horror as Naruto's body glowed red before an explosive wave of red energy exploded from him, overtaking the entire base and triggering a second explosion from the Gedo Mazo containing the other Biju. Flashback end. From this memory the two went back through his entire life, including memories that he couldn't access because he was too young, like the ceiling of the Kyuubi. "This boy has one of the most noble souls I have ever met. To sacrifice oneself for an ungrateful world, he is truly a hero of the highest caliber," stated the Supreme Kai. "Bound together at birth with the fox. The willpower to withstand the temptations of its power is astounding, but his body was not meant to use demonic power," said Kibito. That may have been true before, but the boy's body over time began to adapt to the demonic energies. The beast seems to have attempted to modify its vessel to either ensure its survival or simply take the body as its own at some point. It would have worked, but the seal made the process occur too slowly. Countered the Supreme Kai. I see. We can accelerate the process somewhat so that his body can handle the demonic energies. Said Kibito. Yes. Also, we will remove the soul of the beast and cast it into Makai. Now let's get started, ordered the Supreme Kai. The two stood a few feet away from the body before raising their arms outstretched. Soon Naruto's body levitated into mid-air, a purple aura surrounding him. After a few minutes, the whisker marks on his face sharpened a bit and the muscle mass increased all over his body. It seems the facial markings were not from being the vessel, they were his own to begin with. Observed the Supreme Kai. Now that we have modified the body, we must go inside to remove the soul of the beast and cast it into Makai. The two vanished in a flash of light and reappeared inside the sewer-like mindscape of the blonde in front of the seal. For such a primitive people to create such a technique is impressive, despite how barbaric it is. Commented the Kibito. The willpower of this young man is what truly holds this beast back. Replied the Supreme Kai. Who dares enter my domain? Snarled the Kyuubi as its eyes opened from behind the gate. Demon, you're lucky your vessel was found by the Supreme Kai. You will now gain your freedom and the boy will be rid of you once and for all. Retorted Kibito defiantly. As soon as I am free from this cage I will devour everything in my path, starting with you, roared the Kyuubi. You will be doing no such thing, the boy's body has become accustomed to holding your power. Your power will remain here and you will be cast into the realm of Makai with nothing left but your tainted soul. Proclaimed the Supreme Kai. He then raised his hand and hit the Kyuubi with a spell. You can't do this to me. This is my power, roared the Kyuubi before suddenly its body bloated and it clamped its claws over its mouth. The Kyuubi's attempts to suppress its power back down within its core proved futile as a massive red orb forced its way up through its throat and out of its mouth. After the process completed, the Kyuubi's size reduced to that of a normal fox. No! Screamed the fox as the Supreme Kai hit with another spell that banished it to the realm of Makai. With another pulse of his power, the seal and the sewer faded away to reveal a forest with a blue ball of energy illuminating the sky. The red orb in front of them then rose to join to the blue orb in the sky. Our work here is done. The rest will occur naturally over time. The two then vanished from the mindscape back to the real world. Shortly after reappearing in the real world, Naruto finally began to awaken. The two simply observed him as he came to, muttering random nonsense. When he looked up in true Naruto fashion, he spoke the first thing that came to his mind. Is everyone in the afterlife that ugly? Followed by, hey, a fishman? A tick mark appeared on Kibito's forehead as he promptly berated the blonde for a lack of respect for the Supreme Kai, as said Kai chuckled in amusement. The Supreme then proceeded to explain the situation to him, how he was rescued, and what they did to him. Naruto simply nodded sagely as if he understood everything that was going on. Then the Supreme Kai laid his cards on the table. I have a proposition for you. Long ago I sealed away a great evil inside a planet. If this being were ever to be released, it could mean the end of all life as we know it. I believe you have the potential to defeat this being. After some training and preparation I want to send you there. You can consider it a mission. Naruto scratched his head. So let me get this straight, I'm not dead. You pulled me out of a dimensional rift, removed the fox from my gut, left me a bunch of its power, and all you want me to do is go guard some planet in return. After receiving a nod from the Supreme Kai, he continued, if I find a good ramen stand there, I'll get people to start worshipping you. At this they both face planted into the ground. That's it? I figured you'd be more inclined to find a way to return home. Stated a surprised Supreme Kai. Naruto shrugged, I already made peace with my old life when I resigned myself to self-destructing to stop those guys from taking over the world. Besides, I could be an even bigger legend, Naruto Uzumaki Intergalactic Ninja. But, you're part demon now. Surely that has to be startling? Questioned Kibito. Who cares? Naruto shrugged before he rubbed his hands together with a maniacal grin on his face. Now you said something about training. Yes. Kibito, take us to the Grand Kai of Earth Sector. Exclaimed Supreme Kai, joyous that his plan was coming to fruition. Right away. Kibito placed a hand on the both of them and the trio vanished. Naruto stood there stunned for a moment after they appeared on the Grand Kai's planet before jumping up and down in excitement. You have to teach me how to do that. At this Kibito smirked, maybe later. The trio stood outside of Giant White Palace when suddenly an old man wearing jeans and denim jacket walked out the front door. He danced around while listening to rock music on the boombox he held in his hand. Pretty fly for an old guy, blurted Naruto. Show some respect for the Grand Kai, yelled Kibito. I take it as a compliment that the young ones still think I'm the essence of cool. Supreme Kai, what can I do you for? Said the Grand Kai. The Supreme Kai proceeded to explain the entire situation to him. At this the Grand Kai gave Naruto a look over before speaking. I see. Yes, a very rare find indeed. No problem, I'll have North Kai whip him into shape. Kibito, if you could go retrieve him for us. He'll know the most about the current situation on Earth, stated the Supreme Kai. Right away, sir, replied Kibito before vanishing. Seconds later he reappeared with King Kai. Supreme Kai, sir, I'm honored, exclaimed King Kai as he bowed. Please North Kai, the honor is all mine since I have come to ask you a favor. Kibito has debriefed you on the situation? Yes, he has. He must not know about Goku and the others. They could use extra help with those androids coming. Let's see if he can be of any help. Let's see, Naruto? Let me get a good reading of you. King Kai turned to face the blonde with his antennae perking. Blonde stood there impatiently before King Kai spoke again. Yeah, I can whip him into shape. Get him ready to go in, say 2.5 years? Just in time for those androids. Excellent, remarked the Supreme Kai. What, how is that possible? He should require a much lengthier amount of training time, stated Kibito. We will have to modify it a bit, but his trademark technique, the shadow clone, is the key. Everything the clone learns the user learns. I can do over a century worth of training in this amount of time, replied Naruto with a smirk. Don't get too cocky. I'm going to have to rebuild you from the basics. The Earth will be a fine place for him reside. One of my pupils resides on that planet. He should be able to help him adapt. Now first things first. King Kai raised his hands in the air and suddenly 4 small rings of energy appeared around Naruto's wrists and ankles. They clamped down upon him before he plummeted to the ground. I want you to forget everything you ever learned about chakra. I'm going to teach you how to use your purely physical energy. First step, figure out how to stand up. Why would I want to do that? Some of my most destructive techniques are from chakra, growled a struggling Naruto. Just think of it this way. Using chakra gave you more precision but less power. However, if your enemy is strong enough, precision won't matter, you need to overpower him. From your memories I deduced that the strongest opponent you fought could level an entire village? At this Naruto nodded. Well, I'm going to make you strong enough to fight guys who can level an entire planet. At this statement Naruto gained a maniacal gleam in his eye before suddenly forcing himself to his knees. Kids so easy to motivate these days, thought King Kai while shaking his head. Well then, good luck to you. We'll be back later to check up your progress. The Supreme Kai waved before he and Kibito vanished from the area. The Grand Kai turned his boombox back on and danced his way back inside the mansion. Speaking of kids, I should tell Goku the good news, muttered King Kai. The other world overseer's antennae perked up as he made contact with his most powerful student back on Earth. Hey, Goku, I've got great news. King Kai communicated telepathically. Hey, King Kai, long time no see. Did you find someone to help us fight the androids? Responded Goku. No, I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico. Bawahahaha, joked King Kai. Goku was completely lost. They have car insurance in Otherworld? Who knew? King Kai shook his head. Tough crowd. Never mind that. I've got someone to help you fight the androids. The Supreme Kai wants relocate one of his warriors to my sector, more specifically the Earth. This caught the Saiyan's attention. Wow. I can't believe it. There's a Supreme Kai too? There's a bunch more Kais, but that's not important, replied King Kai. The Supreme Kai buried a great source of evil within the Earth long ago. He wants to send his man there to protect it from anyone who might come looking for it. But we already have plenty of people protecting the Earth, reminded Goku. I already know that. However, the Supreme Kai has not checked on the planet in a while. If he knew about all you guys he might just keep him here, and I figured you'd need all the help you can get with these androids. Besides, the Supreme picked this guy out personally, so he's got to have a ton of talent. Goku was sold. A warrior sent by the Supreme Kai must be incredibly strong. I can't wait to fight him. You Saiyans are always looking for the next challenge. You still have 2.5 years before the androids arrive and he has to finish his training here under me. After I whip him into decent fighting shape, I'll have you and a few of the others come to meet him. Sounds good to me, replied an enthusiastic Goku. What did King Kai want? Asked Piccolo. Apparently, he found somebody to help us out with the androids, informed Goku. Who could he find that would be strong enough to help? Asked Gohan. There's actually someone who is King Kai's boss, a Supreme Kai. The Supreme Kai discovered this mystery fighter and wants to train him to defend against some great evil he sealed away, replied Goku. That threw Piccolo for a loop. You're telling me there's a Supreme Kai? And he found this guy? Are we reviving some dead warrior with the Dragon Balls or something? Goku shook his head. Nope, I'm pretty sure he's alive. The Supreme thinks he's loaded with potential. I don't think you'd say that sort of thing about a dead guy. Looks like the future might be changing after all. Hee hee hee. Ha ha ha. Oh, these are hilarious. I know one thing, Naruto, you are by far my greatest student in the art of comedy. King Kai couldn't contain himself as he looked over the pictures from the results of Naruto's latest strike in their prank war with West Kai. After the short Kai's refusal to teach him the Thunder Flash attack, Naruto declared war in attempt to make the Kai meet his demands. King Kai has been piling up the blackmail material ever since, the latest being the results of Naruto's harem jutsu. He found this material very useful in bribing South Kai to teach Naruto defensive techniques and getting him to use his ability to raise Naruto's training weights periodically. Naruto also somehow managed to acquire photos of East Sans her wig and parlayed those into speed training. Of course, neither West nor East Kai knew that Naruto's pranks were being funded by the Grand Kai, who was excited to have someone liven up Otherworld after all these years. The 2 years quickly passed since Naruto's arrival in Otherworld and the start of his training. He took to the training like a natural, surpassing even King Kai's expectations in terms of power and skill. The boy seemed to create a new attack every few days, although 80% of them turned out to be useless or just a more powerful version of an old attack. He'd lost count after the teen's 30th version of the Rasengan. Currently 100 Naruto clones worked on his latest super secret technique, while the real Naruto went through his aptly dubbed Green Beast workout, consisting of several hundred punches and kicks with his newly upgraded weights from South Kai. He now wore a black fighting gi and orange-toed black boots with an orange undershirt and belt. He also retired his forehead protector, now sporting an regular orange headband in its place. After finishing looking through the photos, King Kai remembered that today was the day he was going to test Naruto and called for his test fighter, Goku. It's time. Alright, we're on our way, telepathically replied Goku. Suddenly Goku, Krillin, Piccolo and Gohan phased into existence. As soon as the quartet arrived, an explosion nearly knocked them all off their feet. Naruto, move further out when training those unstable techniques, yelled an irate King Kai. Sorry King Kai, yelled the group of Narutos as they picked it up and moved further away. Geez kid, these days, all about the fancy explosive techniques, grumbled King Kai. Boy, that is some kind of technique. The things I could do with 100 copies of myself, pondered Krillin. Yeah, get dumped by girls in the hundreds, remarked Goku, causing King Kai, Piccolo, and Gohan to snicker. At least I wouldn't consume the entire world's food supply, retorted Krillin. 100 clones is nothing. When I really cut loose I can make over 2,000, replied the real Naruto for a moment as he paused in his workout before continuing. Krillin's jaw dropped. TT 2000. Talk about your one-man army, muttered Piccolo. So how strong is he, King Kai? I can't really sense his power, inquired Goku. Oh, that's right, he's using those energy cuffs. Naruto, you can release them, ordered King Kai. Well, let me slip out of these weights too then, says Naruto as he discarded the weights, leaving a crater in the ground. Geez, how much weight was he using? Asked Krillin. He usually warms up at about 4 tons per limb, replied King Kai. That is a pretty good warm-up, stated Piccolo as Goku nodded in agreement. Gohan and Krillin just stared at them like as if they were insane. Naruto gathered himself in mid-air before stretching his arms out to the side. 4 golden rings appeared in each arm and leg. "Release!" he shouted as the 4 rings shattered and his true power level hit their sense. "Impressive, he's about as strong as Vegeta," commented Piccolo. Goku smirked and started doing some stretches. "Can't you sense it, Piccolo? He's holding back. He would have whipped Frieza no problem." Piccolo wasn't buying it, he couldn't be that strong. That would mean he's as strong as a Super Saiyan. "Well, he's definitely not normal," quipped Krillin. "He's nothing close to normal," muttered King Kai as he let out a snort of amusement. If he can hold his own against a Super Saiyan, then they should stand an excellent chance against these androids. Goku rose into the air and stood across from Naruto, who had released his clones, each fighter sizing up the other. "The strongest warrior on Earth, let's see what you've got," stated Naruto with an eager grin as he shifted his preferred stance, developed from the frog cat as he learned when becoming a sage. Goku responded with a grin of his own before he launched himself towards Naruto. He struck with 2 punches only to be met with the blocking forearms of Naruto. Naruto followed with a roundhouse kick that is blocked easily by Goku in return. Goku punched again only to have his fist pass through an after image. Naruto attempts a vertical kick from Goku's blind spot only to pass through an after image as well. The 2 disappeared and reappeared around the area in a dance of punches and kicks, with each attack blocked or dodged by the other. Suddenly, they reappeared on the ground with both hands interlocked, trying to overwhelm the other with brute strength. Goku was starting to overwhelm Naruto and began pushing him back before he suddenly bent backwards at a nearly impossible angle to dodge a spinning kick from a second Naruto that attacked him from behind. The 2 Narutos began to attack in tandem, forcing Goku on the defensive. However, the Saiyan soon exploited an opening and landed a hard punch on each Naruto. He was surprised when both blondes went up in a puff of smoke. Goku sharpened his senses looking for Naruto only to be stunned at the last second as a fist rose from the ground and knocked him into the air. Suddenly 4 Narutos appeared above him, each grabbing a limb and pinning him to the ground. He looked up to see the real Naruto launching a large spiraling ball of energy at him, Odama Rasengan. Goku flared his energy to break free from the clones and launched a blast of energy that detonated Naruto's attack in midair, triggering a huge explosion. After the dust cleared from the blast, the 2 fighters gave each other an appraising stare. "Good enough warm-up?" asked Goku, an amused look on his face. "Yeah, let's turn it up," replied Naruto with enthusiastic fist pump. Goku channeled his power and let out a roar as his muscle mass expanded all over his body, with his hair turning golden to accompany the aura that came with the Super Saiyan transformation. "That's pretty impressive. Now watch this." Naruto suddenly he struck a ridiculous pose that would have made Jiraiya proud. "Now you will see what makes all men tremble in fear, and all the ladies want to be near. It is renowned from the east to the west as simply being the very best. Behold, the legendary power of Naruto Uzumaki. Tadaa. Stop goofing around," yelled King Kai. Fine, grumbled Naruto. He settled into a normal stance and channeled his power, causing his aura and eyes to shift from blue to red. His gained slit pupils and his nails became claw-like while his teeth grew into fangs. His blonde hair grew a little longer, became even spikier, and point upwards while his whisker marks thickened and widened. They all sensed that his energy had a bit of a malicious feel to it. As he spoke, his voice gained a much deeper pitch and raspier edge to it. "Feels good to cut loose. Haven't had too many chances to go full power since I've been here. Don't exactly have a cool name for this like you, I just call it my demon form. You know, after dealing with Piccolo all these years, meeting a real demon isn't that scary," stammered a slightly spooked Krillin. Piccolo ignored him, quirking an eyebrow at King Kai. "So that's what you meant by nothing close to normal. He's from the Makai realm. He's not from there, but you could say that is where he inherited his power from. And what it truly meant was the fact that at this stage he's only tapping into a fraction of his true potential," replied King Kai. Their conversation was interrupted by the massive power output now being generated by the 2 warriors as they resumed their clash. The pair stood apart from each other, powering up massive energy attacks. Goku elected to go with the Super Kamehameha, Ha! Naruto pulled out one of his new attacks as he stuck his right arm straight out with flat palm facing out and his left hand around the right wrist. A large red ball of energy formed in front of his hand, crackling with black electricity, Thunder Dragon Wave. As he unleashed the blast, the head of dragon formed at the head of the wave while it streaked through air. It met Goku's attack head-on. The two blasts struggled for dominance as both fighters poured in their energy when suddenly the beams exploded. After the dust cleared, the two fighters reappeared in the middle of the smoke, engaged in a furious exchange of punches and kicks. "He's really keeping up with Dad as a Super Saiyan. This is amazing," uttered Gohan in awe. "Yeah, look at them go," cheered Krillin. The two warriors were now trading thunderous blows at high speed with the shockwaves shaking the area. They began to power up large energy attacks again when they were stopped by the shouts of King Kai. "Stop, that's enough for now. Don't want you two to destroy the Grand Kai's planet," he ordered. Sighing at having their fight stopped, the two warriors powered down. "That was incredible. You guys were dead even," yelled Krillin as the two fighters approached. "I'd never thought it was even possible for anyone to match a Super Saiyan besides another Super Saiyan." Naruto shrugged. "Not exactly even, he was holding back a little more power." "Yeah, but your stamina is impressive. You poured a ton of power into that energy blast and it didn't affect you at all," asserted Goku. "So how strong are these androids?" asked Naruto. "We don't know exactly, but they supposedly stronger than a Super Saiyan and have infinite energy," answered Piccolo. "In a straight-up fight the odds are still in their favor," added King Kai. "True, but if push comes to shove, who says we need to fight fair?" replied a smirking Naruto. King Kai had decided Naruto needed to get familiar with the Earth, so he sent him back with Goku and the gang to stay for about a week before returning to cap off his training. They decided to gather everyone at Capsule Corp to introduce them to their new comrade. They first stopped at Goku's house to pick up Chi-Chi. They weren't even able to get to the door before she stormed out, frying pan in hand. "Where have you been, mister? Gohan was supposed to be home 4 hours ago to study. I can't believe you're so irresponsible. We had an agreement. Don't you care about our son's education?" ranted Chi-Chi, and she was just picking up steam as she marched toward the quickly panicking Goku. "She's even scarier than the old hag when she was pissed off," thought a cringing Naruto. Chi-Chi brought frying up to punish her husband, and the others could only look on in horror before Naruto decided to save his new friend from his irate wife. "Well, you see, the reason they were gone so long was that they came to visit me to help Gohan learn a very important technique to help with his studying," informed Naruto. "We did?" blurted a stunned Gohan, Goku, Krillin and Piccolo. "Yeah, you know the shadow clone technique. You see, Goku was feeling bad that he had to pull Gohan away from his studies so much, so he brought him to see me. With this technique you can create multiple copies of yourself, and everything the copy learns is passed back to the user. So Gohan can study triple the amount at one time to make up for the time he spends training," stated Naruto excitedly. They couldn't believe Naruto pulled that one out of his ass. "Oh, Goku, you do care about Gohan's education," she shrieked while now bear hugging her husband. This didn't last long, as she now went on a new rant at the possibilities of what she could do with Gohan's studies. "This is great, I can revamp the entire curriculum schedule. He doesn't have focus on a single track, I can steer him towards multiple degrees. Now that is what I call genius under pressure," thought Krillin. "Phew, nice save, Naruto. I'm glad King Kai sent you back with us," thought Goku. "This is great, I can now study without actually having to study," happily thought Gohan at being free from studying all the time. "Nice save, Naruto, I owe you one," said Goku after Chi-Chi went back inside. "Guys, do you realize what just happened? He stopped the frying pan of doom," blurted Krillin, causing Goku to clamp his hands over his mouth. "Quiet, if she catches on we may never be able to pull this off again. There are tons of techniques you can just pass on as helping Gohan study. I can't believe we didn't think of it before," said Piccolo. "When she's coming right after you with that female aura doom, you tend to forget everything except bracing yourself for the pain," spoke Naruto with a shudder. "At least she doesn't have monstrous super strength. Nor an apprentice to pass it off to either. The pan makes up for it. Still haven't figured out what that thing is made of," muttered Goku while scratching the back of his head. "Maybe it could be the key to defeating the androids," joked Gohan, causing them to all doubled over in laughter. The entire collection of the Earth's special forces except Vegeta had gathered at Capsule Corp. They were all chowing down on food, having a good time. It was a good release for them all as they took a break from their strenuous training and the stress over the upcoming threat to the planet. The women had been caught up in baby talk in Trunks' nursery room, so the inmates were running the asylum. Naruto had fit in seamlessly with the group, telling tales of his adventures as a ninja and his time the past couple years in the other world. So right as I show, he just looked at me in horror before shrieking and hiding behind his father, yelling, "Save me, father! It's the golden monkey." So I decide to transform into a giant golden monkey just like King Kai said, and Frieza just faints on the spot. Even his dad laughed at him. The room erupts with laughter before Goku chimes in, "Oh man, that is too much. That reminds of on Namek. I'm staring down Frieza about to begin the fight of my life, and in the background I hear Krillin say, even with the new transformation I still can't tell, is Frieza a guy or a girl?" And then Gohan replies, "I don't know." His voice got even more girlish than before. Maybe he's both? I almost started laughing so hard I lost the fight right there. The roar of laughter once again filled the room again. The next few months passed quickly and the day of the android's arrival finally arrived. King Kai wished his new pupil luck before Naruto teleported back to Earth outside of Goku's house. Soon the father-son duo walked outside to meet Naruto and Piccolo with Chi-Chi trailing behind. "Can't you guys stay a bit longer for lunch?" pleaded Chi-Chi. "Sorry, Mom, but we have to go," replied Gohan. "Bye, Chi-Chi," said Goku. Naruto noticed the worried look in eye before giving her some comforting words. "Don't worry, Miss Chi-Chi. Me and the Green Man will make sure they get home safe and sound." "Let's do this," stated a confident Goku as the quartet took to the sky. "Those androids won't know what hit him," yelled Naruto as they took off at top speeds towards South City. The quartet of Gohan, Goku, Naruto, and Piccolo met up with Krillin along the way to the island. As they arrived at the island, they found Yamcha, Tien, and Bulma with baby Trunks waiting for them atop the mountain top overlooking the whole island. "Hey, guys, over here," shouted Yamcha with a wave as they came into land. "I told you it was them, Tien. I can't believe it. The day of judgment has finally arrived," muttered a nervous Krillin as he touched down. "All our training for this moment, the only question is, was it enough?" replied Tien. "Well, remember that I was dead already in the other timeline. Plus, Naruto never appeared in that other timeline to help out either. I believe we will win," stated Goku, giving confidence to the worried fighters. Naruto noticed Piccolo frowning at Goku's statement. "What's bugging you? The timeline has been polluted, so things may have changed. I think it's safe to say that the attack will happen today, but with Goku being dead before, the androids might have changed. There could be more, or they could be even stronger," reasoned Piccolo. "Doesn't really matter. I won't stop until they're nothing but scrap heap in a junkyard," replied Naruto, pounding his fist into his palm. "Now you sound like Vegeta," replied a smirking Goku. "Speaking of Vegeta, Bulma, he still isn't back yet?" "Yeah, with the baby I lost track of him and now I'm actually worried that he hasn't turned up in so long," she replied with a frown. "He'll be here. A guy like that wouldn't miss out on a fight like this," stated Piccolo. Their thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Yajirobe in his hover car. "Delivery from Korin, he thought you might need them," stated Yajirobe as he tossed Goku a bag of sensu beans. "Thanks, Yajirobe. Hey, are you going to stay and help us fight the androids?" asked Goku, giving the beans to Bulma for safekeeping. "No way, I'll leave the hero stuff to the crazy people like you," yelled the chubby man as he took off again in his hover car. "They should have been here already, it's already 10:20. Commented Bulma. "Maybe that kid was full of hot air and they want show," suggested Yamcha with a hopeful tone. Piccolo shook his head. "They'll show. Something had to be significant about this day for them to attack before." Suddenly Yajirobe's plane exploded and several explosions went off on the island. "They're already here," bellowed the Namek. "They're attacking innocent people. We need to help them," exclaimed Goku. "I'm on it. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Mass Shadow Clone Technique," yelled Naruto, creating a massive swarm of clones. He sent one off to rescue Yajirobe before giving the rest other orders. "Go help the injured and evacuate the city," he ordered as the clones took off into the city. "Why can't we sense these things?" yelled a frustrated Tien. "They're androids, they don't have any life energy to sense," exclaimed Gohan. "We'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. Spread out around the city," ordered Piccolo. The group of warriors separated and flew off to different locations. Goku landed on top of building and scanned around not finding anything. Krillin landed on the street and walked past a group of Naruto clones pulling people out of a collapsing building as he searched. Naruto crouched down on the top of a store, scanning the area and finding nothing. Yamcha ran past a group of clones carrying people out of harm's way from a smoking building. One last clone came through the cloud of smoke carrying a woman and her child when it suddenly jumped up to dodge the punch coming from a short fat man. "Hey, what's the big idea?" shouted Yamcha at the guy hindering the rescue effort. The man turned around and he then recognized the Red Ribbon Army emblem on his shirt. "Guys, I found them," yelled Yamcha as a nearby clone dispersed to relay the information. Before Yamcha could flare his power level, even more men suddenly appeared in front of him, also sporting the Red Ribbon logo. One was an old man with a long white beard and mustache, while the other was a bulky muscled man wearing a Red Ribbon Army baseball cap. The old man grabbed Yamcha by the face with his hand over his mouth. Yamcha struggled to free himself from the mont's grip, but quickly found himself losing power. As he lapsed into unconsciousness, the man brought his arm back to kill Yamcha, only to be forced to drop the dark-haired fighter as he received a kick to the side of the head from Naruto, knocking his hat off. The rest of the fighters descended on the area, taking up battle stances in front of the three androids, with Krillin moving over to pick up Yamcha. The old man moved over to pick up his hat. "Guys, his power level is fading fast," exclaimed Krillin. "Go take him to Bulma and get him a sensu bean. After he's patched up, you can catch up with us," ordered Goku. "Right," responded Krillin with a nod as he flew off towards Bulma with Yamcha hefted over his shoulder. "So these are the tin cans of doom. They certainly don't look like much," taunted Naruto. "Yeah, I didn't know the circus was in town," added Tien. "Those outfits are just ridiculous," began Naruto before pausing as he received a rush of information. "My clones aren't done getting people out of harm's way. We need to take this somewhere else. Yes, there are many people who will get in our way. 13 will see to it that they don't," stated the old man. The android with the baseball cap's eyes glowed red and shot laser beams all over the city, causing mass destruction. "You fool! Leave these people out of this," declared Goku, punching the android in the face to halt the assault. "There are no more people left to leave out," replied the fat android. "Don't worry, my clones took all the damage. No one was injured," informed Naruto. "I see you don't agree with my methods. Very well, we will move out to a better location to fight, Goku," stated the old man. "How do you know his name?" questioned Gohan. "We know almost all of you. The Namekian Piccolo, the humans Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha, the son of Goku, Gohan, all except the blonde one," said the old man. "There is no information on him in our database," stated the fat android. "No matter, he will fall just like the rest. They are no match for us. However, I am curious, how did you know to expect our arrival today?" inquired the old man. "Enough small talk. This is crappy place to fight, let's take this somewhere else," declared Naruto, getting the conversation back on track. "Very well, we will follow you," replied the old man. The Z fighters and the three androids took off into the sky in search of a proper battlefield. As Krillin approached Bulma, she could only look upon the prone form of Yamcha in concern. After the Naruto clone had returned with Yajirobe, she gave him a spare capsule she had to return to Korin's tower. "What happened to him?" she asked as Krillin laid Yamcha on the ground. "The androids did something to him. I need the sensu beans," said Krillin, grabbing the bag from Bulma. He fed the bean to Yamcha, who quickly returned to consciousness. "Oh man, that was close. That android, when he grabbed me, it felt like he was sucking out my energy," muttered Yamcha. "Then we need to warn the others. I'll hold on to these sensu beans, Bulma. Let's go," stated Krillin as the two warriors took off. "Darn, I didn't get to ask about what they looked like. We'll wait a little bit until the fighting's over before catching up. I want to get a look at those androids," said Bulma aloud. Baby Trunks gurgled in response. As the warriors flew off towards their destination, Piccolo, Gohan, and Naruto took notice of Goku, who seemed to be in some sort of discomfort. Soon Krillin and Yamcha caught up to the group. "This is far enough, we will fight here," declared the old man. "What's up with Goku?" Naruto whispered to Piccolo and Gohan as they landed. "Yeah, he shouldn't be that taxed from flying here," added Gohan. "It may just be anxiousness to get this started. He can handle himself, but keep an eye on him," responded Piccolo. Naruto wasn't sold. There is something wrong with you, but what? Perhaps it's best if you don't fight that much today. Naruto's thoughts were interrupted by Goku. I'm ready whenever you are. He declared to the androids. Ever the noble warrior, but today you will meet your end. Our creator has studied you very thoroughly ever since your defeat of the Red Ribbon Army all the way until your battle with the Saiyans. Every technique, every battle dissected until he could create us, androids 13, 19, and 20, the perfect fighting machines capable of destroying you. Declared the now-named Android 20. So, that's it? One big revenge kick? Such a shame, but tell me, did you cover our battles in space? Asked Goku. No, by then Dr. Gero had gathered enough information to predict and account for increases in your strength. Replied 20. So you not only know nothing about Naruto, but you don't know a thing about me either. Retorted Goku with a smirk. Did his calculations predict that Goku would become a Super Saiyan? Questioned a smirking Piccolo. 20 was puzzled. Super Saiyan? Goku braced himself before powering up with a yell and transforming into a Super Saiyan. This is my fight, they want me, they got me. Ordered Goku. We have no data on this technique. 20. Responded 13. Yes, an unexpected development, but nothing we cannot handle. 19 You can go first. 13 You can have the next one. Said 20. The chubby android stepped forward, moving into a fighting stance. Goku launched himself towards the android. As the mechanical warrior braced itself for a blow, Goku vanished before reappearing above him. The android launched a punch only for Goku to vanish and reappear behind him. 19 proceeded to launch a combination of punches and kicks only for Goku to block every single one easily. Goku then launched a punch that connected with the android's chest, knocking it backward into a cliff face. 20 clenched his fist in anger at sight of Goku's new abilities. His new powers are beyond anything I could have anticipated. Without an opportunity to steal some energy, 19 will not hold up. Thought 20. Wow, look at Goku, he's unstoppable. Exclaimed Krillin. That android couldn't even touch him. Added Tien. Calm down, that blow did no damage. He's getting up like nothing happened. Responded Piccolo. The android proved him right as it jumped up and made a dash toward Goku, launching a furious assault of energy blasts at the Golden Warrior, kicking up a cloud of debris and smoke. The android used the cover to charge forward with a ball of energy in its hand. Goku dodged the android before swiftly jamming an elbow into his gut, sending him into the ground, creating a crater. This is amazing. Take it to him, Goku, cheered Krillin. No, there's something wrong with my dad, he's struggling to maintain his power. Stated Gohan. That and his attacks aren't doing any damage. Added Naruto. The android once again popped up with a few scratches, but no real damage. He charged toward Goku, leading with the crown of his head until Goku stopped him with an outstretched arm before kicking him straight up into the air. Goku super sped above the machine warrior, clasping his hands together above his head and slamming him towards the ground with a double axe handle. He then reappeared at ground level and punched 19 in the face, sending the chubby robot tumbling head over heels along the ground. Goku rose high in the air above the android, breathing heavily. Once again, the android rose from the ground with nothing but scratches, staring at Goku observantly. You were right, his attacks don't even seem to be phasing him. Said Piccolo. What the hell is that guy made of? Those punches would have even put Frieza out of commission, added Krillin. Either there's something seriously wrong with Goku, or that plump body is designed for him to take a ton of punishment. It doesn't help that Goku looks exhausted already. Replied Naruto. Me. Goku began powering up his attack through his labored breathing. Me. The giant energy wave rushed towards the android, who suddenly cackled with glee before raising his palm into the air. As soon as the beam hit his hand, he sucked all the energy in through the red device in the middle of his palm. Oh, come on, that did nothing? Exclaimed a panting Goku. Goku, don't use any of your energy waves. They'll absorb the energy through their hands. Yelled Piccolo. I think he may have figured that out already. Deadpanned Naruto. Now let's see what he does with all that energy. You're kidding? This is just not my day. Mumbled Goku. Excellent. 19 is now at full power and Goku is wearing down, thought 20. The plump mechanical fighter charged up at Goku, nailing him with an uppercut before following with a knee to the gut, causing the Super Saiyan to double over in pain. Goku countered with an elbow to the face that the android dodged before slamming him into the ground. Goku rose up slowly with his hand over his chest. Oh no, it's that heart virus. It's attacking him right now, screamed Gohan. Goku thought the boy made a mistake, since he didn't get it when he said he would. Yelled Piccolo. Of course he wouldn't. He changed the timeline. When my dad didn't fight Frieza back here on Earth, it must have delayed the virus. Proclaimed Gohan. Looks like it's about time for my debut. Thought Naruto as he began to elevate his power level. Goku suddenly dropped his Super Saiyan transformation before collapsing to the ground. The android hovered above him preparing to suck out his energy. Guys, get ready. When I get Goku, you'll need to get him care. Stated Naruto. Yamcha, you carry Goku back to his house. Krillin, you rush there to get the medicine and bring it back to Yamcha so he can get treatment as fast as possible. Ordered Piccolo. Alright, then Tien, you hold on to these. Said Krillin, tossing him the sensu beans. Now I will take all of your energy. Stated 19 with an evil smirk as it reached down for Goku's throat when suddenly a puff of smoke clouded his vision. After the smoke cleared, the body of Goku had been replaced by a smirking Naruto. He only said one thing, boom. The clone of the blonde exploded and sent the android flying into a cliff face. What the hell was that? Exclaimed Krillin as he shielded his eyes from the explosion. 1 second Goku was there and the next he exploded. Exclaimed Tien. I've got him. Yelled Naruto as everyone looked to see him holding up Goku over his shoulder. Yamcha rushed over and picked up the barely conscious Saiyan. How did he do that? I never picked up his movement on my scanners, muttered 20. Don't worry buddy, we'll get you fixed up in no time. Said Yamcha. Krillin, let's go. The two fighters took off, with 13 moving to follow them only to be stopped by 20. Goku is of no concern. After we finish here we can dispose of those three at our leisure. Stated 20. Naruto flew over and stood across from the now recovered android 19. There's only one problem with that plan. Now that I've seen you fight, I know everything about you. Yet, you still know nothing about me. I'm going to rip you apart. Declared Naruto. My scanners indicate that you are no threat. Dispose of him 19. Casually replied 20. Naruto looked down with his hair shadowing his eyes. You should learn not to underestimate me, he screamed, exploding with power. Naruto continued to yell as he powered up, transforming into his demon form. His power level gained the undivided attention of everyone on the battlefield as the ground quaked under the force of his energy. How is this possible? Yelled 20. It's unreal. Declared Gohan. Incredible, he's putting out as much power as Goku, exclaimed Tien. No, even more, responded Piccolo. As the ground settled as Naruto completed his power-up and 20 was momentarily shocked. How can this be? My scanners read this boy as an ordinary human. How can he possibly possess as much power as a Saiyan? No matter, 19 made quick work of Goku. This one should be just as easy. 19, destroy him, he ordered as his fellow android giggled with glee in response. You may have denied me the energy of Goku, but yours will suffice as a replacement. Declared the chubby android. Naruto leveled a stare at the android with his intimidating feral features in response. They entered a brief stare down before 19 charged after Naruto firing laser beams from his eyes, triggering several explosions. 19 charged through the smoke, locking onto and Naruto, delivering a right-handed power punch that Naruto deftly dodged by leaning to the left. The chubby android followed with a left-handed uppercut which Naruto leaned back to avoid. The mechanical warrior proceeded launch a volley of high-speed kicks and punches with Naruto dodging each attack as the android slowly backed him towards a cliff face. As soon as Naruto's back was against the rocks, the android struck with a left-handed haymaker only for his fist to pass right through an after-image into the rocks of the cliff face. The android grunted in anger as he stared up to see Naruto floating above him with the same stare on his face. That android hasn't managed to land a punch, but Naruto hasn't even thrown one. Commented Tien. Yeah, I don't get it, why isn't he attacking? Replied Gohan. After watching Goku attack head-on, he must be trying to drag the fight out. Responded Piccolo. You're waiting for something, but what is it? Did you really find a weakness in the androids to exploit? Thought Piccolo. You boy are the anomaly I could not account for. What are you up to? Thought 20. 19 removed his fist from the cliff face only to be blindsided by a kick from a Naruto clone. He flew through the air to another Naruto who kicked him straight up in the air. The android stopped himself in mid-flight only to be grabbed from front and back by a pair of Naruto clones who began to spin rapidly while driving 19 straight toward the ground. "Double clone Lotus!" shouted the clones as they made impact with the ground and dispersed, creating a giant crater. As the smoke clears, the android emerges from the crater with his hat gone, face scratched up and leaking a red substance from the corner of his mouth. Naruto stood at the edge of the crater, now smirking. "What's the problem? Need an oil change?" taunted Naruto. The infuriated android charged toward Naruto, leading with a right-handed punch only for Naruto to clasp his hand. The android brought around his other hand for a chop only for Naruto to clasp that hand as well. The two entered a strength battle, trying to push each other back and forth. After struggling and find himself unable to get Naruto to budge, 19 looked up with a smirk. "I have you now. Soon your incredible strength will be all mine after I take all your energy," declared the android. "Really now?" replied Naruto with a smirk of his own. He quickly released the android's hands and before his opponent could react, grabbed the android by the shoulders and delivered a massive headbutt that cracked the protective covering on the android's head. 19 staggered back, clutching its head dazed before stumbling over himself and falling down. "Now that's what I call using your head," cheered Gohan. "What's the problem? Out of order? Perhaps I should call a repairman for you," gloated Naruto. The android stumbled to his feet and caught his balance before charging towards the demonic warrior. 19 landed a punch that sent Naruto skidding along the ground. The android giggled with glee until Naruto disappeared in puff smoke. Suddenly the ground rumbled before a hand holding a basketball-sized spiraling ball of energy erupted from underground, hitting the android in the stomach. "What a move!" yelled Tien. Incredible, he knew the androids could absorb energy if he blasted it from far away, so he used the diversion to get inside his guard for a close-range attack. Said Piccolo. "Rasengan!" yelled the emerging Naruto. The Rasengan drilled into the android's gut, kicking out metallic parts until it bore a hole right into the android's interior before exploding in a blast right out the android's back. Naruto withdrew his arm from the android interior, allowing the now destroyed warrior to fall to the ground out of commission for good. "What have you done?" roared 20. "You machines are all outdated. I'm sending you all to the scrap heap where you belong," retorted Naruto. Suddenly clapping was heard from up above. "I must say that was quite an impressive performance. Looks like Kakarot finally found a worthwhile warrior to join his little group." "Vegeta, you arrogant fool, you've been watching the whole time," yelled Tien. "So your guy who was about to jump in before I saved him," stated Naruto. "This guy has the stench of an arrogant teme. Should be fun to work with. I should thank you. The right to defeat Kakarot is reserved for me alone, not some pathetic machines," stated Vegeta as he landed on the ground. "Like you could ever stand against a Super Saiyan," retorted Piccolo. "You act like Kakarot is the only one," remarked Vegeta. "He couldn't have, could he?" thought Gohan. "We don't have time to deal with you. Naruto, take out the next android," ordered Piccolo. "No, wait. This man claims to be a Super Saiyan. I want to see it." Goku was too injured to fight at full power. Let him have his shot. If he's as strong as he claims, then he's earned it, proposed Naruto. "Taking down Goku must have taken more of a toll on 19 than I thought. We can still win. It's obvious that Vegeta and this Naruto are the only threats. We each should be able to manage defeating one, and after absorbing their energy the rest will fall easily. I'll have 13 handle Vegeta and I'll take care of the unknown. I'm glad I had the foresight to remodel 13 with the energy-absorbing technology instead of scrapping him completely. 19 may be able to take more punishment, but 13 is a superior fighter," plotted 20. Sending out 19 after such an intense battle with Goku was a miscalculation on my part. 13 should be able to handle a threat like Vegeta with no problem, stated 20 as 13 stepped forward. "This one is mine, stand aside," barked Vegeta as Naruto moving back towards the others to observe. "You sure this is a good idea?" questioned Tien. "I don't want to reveal too much of my fighting style to them. The last one might find something that he can use against me. If Vegeta is a Super Saiyan, he will already have the edge based on them underestimating the transformation from Goku's performance," replied Naruto. "I've seen it already. The fear in your eyes when he disposed of that tub of lard like he was nothing. So prepare yourself, android. Quake with fear," roared Vegeta as he powered up. Not him too, yelled 20. I don't believe it, yelled Tien. He actually managed to become a Super Saiyan, stated a puzzled Piccolo. I thought you had to be like my dad to do it, said Gohan. Apparently not, stated Naruto. Since Goku was sick, it's up to you to show me what a Super Saiyan can really do. Yes, there's more than one way to reach the goal, declared a smirking Vegeta, basking in the glow of his new form. Vegeta stood there with a smirk on his face staring down 13. The android suddenly vanished and reappeared in front of Vegeta and landed a fierce kick to the Super Saiyan's head, turning it to the side. This one is a much better fighter, commented Piccolo. Yeah, his moves are just as fluid as ours, added Naruto. Vegeta merely turned his head forward with the smirk still on his face. Just as I thought, he said while wiping a trickle of blood off his chin. You're nothing. This won't even be a challenge. The Super Saiyan rushed forward to pummel the android into oblivion. Vegeta landed several kicks and punches that broke through 13's defenses, rendering the android unable to counterattack. 13 attempted to switch to different tactics by trying evasive maneuvers to bait the Super Saiyan into coughing up some energy, but Vegeta didn't bite, continuing his merciless assault on the mechanical warrior in hand-to-hand combat. It soon became evident who the victor in this fight would be. Bulma sped along in her jet car, trying to reach the battlefield before the androids were all gone. I've got to see these androids. A breakthrough in science like this must be witnessed, she stated aloud. Gaga Blue, responded Baby Trunks from beside her. That's right, she responded when suddenly a purple-haired teen shot right past her at high speed. It's that boy from the future. He must be here to see if they won. We better hurry, exclaimed Bulma as she floored it. Gwa! Cheered Baby Trunks as the jet car picked up speed. Android 20 stood there trembling in anger at 13's defeat. How can this be? All of their powers are far greater than they should have been, and they managed to recruit another powerful warrior to their side, thought 20. Well, what's it going to be, android? Declared Vegeta as he turned to face 20. There's no way an old fart like you can possibly win, gloated Naruto. My calculations never anticipated anything like this. I should have released Android 17 and 18 like I first planned, thought 20. I'm far superior to both those models. Besides, you wouldn't be so smug if I unleashed Androids 17 and 18. You wouldn't stand a chance against the superior models, declared 20. You're an idiot. Why wouldn't you come with your best fighters in the first place, mocked Vegeta. Unless he can't control someone who's stronger than him, added Naruto. Can't control? I created them, they will do as I say, roared 20. I thought you looked familiar. You're the real Dr. Gero. I've seen you in my science books. You must have turned yourself into an android in order to control the others, but it still failed, proclaimed Gohan. I've had enough of this. Soon you will all pay for this humiliation, declared Gero as he turned away from the warriors to flee, only to find himself facing Naruto. Where do you think you're going? Oh, you must be looking for an ass-kicking. No problem, I'll do it for free, mocked Naruto. Gero then turned away from him in another direction, only to be cut off by Vegeta. The woman's been nagging me about recycling parts for the GR, a piece of junk like you should do just fine, said Vegeta before backhanding the android, sending him skidding along the ground. Suddenly Trunks arrived on the scene, scanning the battlefield. I'm not too late. They're still here, he thought before getting a look around and seeing the remains of androids 13 and 19. What's going on here? Who are they fighting? What's going here? Who are you guys fighting? Questioned Trunks. What the hell do you mean, who are we fighting? These are the blasted androids that you told us about, yelled Vegeta. Yeah, and there were 3 androids that attacked, not 2, added Tien. No, these aren't the same androids, yelled Trunks. What could have happened? Has the timeline changed that much already? Where's Goku? Trunks asked. My dad didn't get that heart virus you told us about until today, replied Gohan. Damn it, how could the timeline have possibly changed so much? Trunks screamed in frustration. It doesn't matter. We've got this guy on the ropes, replied Naruto, hovering over Dr. Gero. Another fighter. He seems to be the one who informed them of our arrival, but how can that be? I have no record on him at all, just like the blonde one. I need a diversion to be able to retreat. There, thought Dr. Gero. The android saw the air car containing Bulma and Baby Trunks and fired eye lasers at it, triggering an explosion. No, yelled Trunks. After the smoke from the explosion cleared, it revealed Naruto holding Bulma and baby Trunks. "Don't worry, I got them," responded Naruto. "Damn it, your distraction allowed him to escape," yelled Vegeta. "What the hell? Don't you even care about your own wife and son?" raged Trunks. "There are more important things than that woman and her blasted child. Besides, why the hell should you care?" yelled Vegeta. "What an asshole. If I wasn't holding his wife and kid right now, I'd punch him in the face," thought Naruto. "You fool. That boy is who that baby eventually grows up to be," yelled Piccolo. "What? That boy is my son? Incredible, my son a Super Saiyan at that age," thought Vegeta. "You hear that, Trunks? You grow up to be a nice handsome young man," cheered Bulma, bouncing the baby up and down. "Not to be rude, but don't we have bigger problems right now?" stated Naruto. "We need to track him down before he gets to his lab and activate those other androids," declared Tien. "Those must be them. The androids I warned you about," said Trunks. "I don't see what the big deal is as long as you don't let them suck your energy. These guys are easy," said Naruto. "These other androids don't need to absorb energy, they have an infinite supply for their own," replied Trunks. "Shit, well that complicates things," asserted Naruto. "Watch the language," scolded Bulma. "What are you doing here anyway? This is hardly the place for a mother and baby," countered Naruto. "I wanted to see them. This is a major advance in the scientific community to create machines like these," said Bulma. "We could have just brought you the scraps after we were done," deadpanned Gohan. "Focus, we need a plan," yelled Piccolo. "He's heading back to his lab. Anyone know where that is?" asked Tien. "Dr. Gero's lab is located somewhere near the mountains around North City," replied Bulma. "Alright, you guys take off after him. I'll take her back home before catching up," ordered Naruto. "Keep your eyes peeled. He might try to ambush one of us and steal more energy," yelled Piccolo as he, Vegeta, Gohan, Tien, and Trunks took off in search of Gero. "Alright, I'll get you two home in a second," stated Naruto. "Wait, I want to take the remains of those guys with me so my dad and I can study them. Maybe we can find a weakness you guys can exploit," said Bulma. "Hold on, I got it covered," said Naruto, forming a bunch of clones that began to scavenge the battlefield for android remains. Once they're done, they'll teleport with the remains to Capsule Corp. "Now let's go so I can catch up to the others," said Naruto. "You know what, Chi-Chi was actually right when she said then when you guys finally turned out to be useful," replied Bulma. "I resent that," retorted Naruto before he disappeared with Bulma and baby Trunks to Capsule Corp. Naruto teleported back to the rest of the group, joining them mid-flight in their pursuit of Dr. Gero. "So, do we have a plan or are we just charging in head first and beating the hell out of anything that moves?" questioned Naruto. "He's got too big a jump on us to find him when we can't sense his energy. Our best bet is to try beat him to the lab," replied Piccolo. "If we get there before him, we can destroy the androids before they are awakened," added Trunks. "That's what you think, boy. I will fight the androids if only to prove my superior power to all of you, especially Kakarot," thought Vegeta. "We're here, you guys," declared Tien, causing them all to come to a halt above a mountainous area. "How in the hell are we supposed to find him in these mountains?" muttered Gohan. "There are tons of spots to hide an entrance. We spread out and search the old-fashioned way," ordered Piccolo. Naruto formed a mass of clones to help cover more ground, while the rest of the Z fighters dispersed throughout the area. Dr. Gero peeked from around the side of a large rock to see if the coast was clear before rushing to the hidden entrance of his laboratory. He punched a code into the hidden keypad of the door before it opened and he entered with it closing quickly behind him. He didn't notice a Naruto clone that had been tailing him disperse to relay the lab location back to Naruto. He retrieved a remote from a wall and pressed a button which triggered the lights turning on in the lab. I had hoped to avoid doing this so soon without completely reworking their programming, but it looks like I don't have a choice. I'll only need them to deal with Vegeta and the blonde boy. Then I'll shut them down as I can handle the rest myself," Gero said to himself. Dr. Gero walked over to the large container labeled 17 and pressed the red button on the side. The pod-like container opened, revealing a long black-haired young man with a red scarf who opened his eyes and stepped out. He briefly glanced at the remote in Dr. Gero's hand before speaking. "Dr. Gero, how are you today?" Good, you seem to be in working order. Now let's awaken 18," Jero said as he pressed the red button on the next container. This one opened to reveal a young blonde girl. As she emerged, she too glanced at the remote in Dr. Jero's hand before speaking. "Hello doctor, how have you been?" 18 replied with a docile tone. "Excellent, you also seem to be functioning properly as well. Maybe I won't have to deactivate you this time. Perhaps the initial programming just took longer to take hold," stated Dr. Jero while shifting the remote in his other hand before continuing. "Now listen closely, we have a situation on our hands and I will show no tolerance for insubordination. Earlier today 13, 19, and myself engaged in battle with Goku and his friends. 13 and 19 were defeated due to anomalies I could not have accounted for. The first is Vegeta. Through some technique he has managed to increase his strength well beyond what my calculations could have predicted. He defeated 13 with ease, however he is still no match for either of you. The second and far more dangerous threat is a new warrior they somehow added to their ranks. At first glance he appears to a human teenager, however, he has power and skills that are still unknown. I did not have a chance to thoroughly analyze him as he defeated a fully charged 19 with relative ease. However, I believe either of you should still be able to handle him easily," explained Dr. Jero. "So you did create the energy-absorbing models and even revamped 13 with the design," stated 17. "You turned yourself into one of those models as well," added 18. The sound of something ramming into the door was then heard. "Yes, I too have gained eternal life and great strength, but that is not important. The rest of Goku's friends are outside here right now. I command you to destroy them," demanded Dr. Jero. The remaining Z fighters were all gathered outside Dr. Jero's lab deciding the next course of action. Krillin had rejoined the group after leaving Goku back at his house with Chi-Chi and Yamcha. Currently Vegeta and Naruto wanted to bust the door down, while Trunks pleaded with them to retreat and wait for Goku. "You don't understand, we cannot fight the androids. We have to wait for Goku," pleaded Trunks. "Look, if you want to do that then go ahead, but most of your info has been shitty. Sitting around and waiting really isn't my style, so let's do this," replied Naruto. "Looks like you're outvoted brat," declared Vegeta as he blasted down the door to reveal Jero with 17 and 18. "A long-haired guy with a scarf and a hot girl, I'm horribly terrified," deadpanned Naruto before he let out a sigh. "Well, if I'm going to die I hope she kills me. Seriously, I'm shaking in my boots," quipped Vegeta. "They're androids?" asked Krillin, confused. "But, they look so normal." "Don't let their looks fool you. They're lethal and stronger than you can imagine," declared Trunks. "I do have one question, if he can make people like this, why did the rest of them look so ugly?" remarked Naruto. "Maybe being cooped up in a laboratory for so long fried his brain. He made himself into the ugliest one of all," gloated Vegeta. "So your inferior models failed and you turned to us as a last resort?" asked 17, ignoring the commotion. "You must have figured an energy-absorbing model like yourself would be easier to control. And look at them now, they have been destroyed," stated 18. "It's just like I said, they're not under his control. Let's see how this plays out," proclaimed an amused Naruto. "Enough," declared 20. "More, kick his ass. I bet he created the girl in order to fulfill his perverted little fantasies." "You sick old perv," roared Naruto in laughter. "Destroy these fools, starting with the blonde one," ordered Jero. "Silence, you old crackpot. We will deal with them when we are ready," snapped 17. 18 moved back farther into lab observing a pod labeled 16. "It looks like you let another previous design survive as well. Besides 13 you destroyed all the previous models before us. Another android. How could I have possibly missed one?" thought Trunks. "Do not touch him. Any further insubordination and I will shut you down," raged Dr. Jero. "With what old man?" mocked 17. Dr. Jero looked down only to realize in horror that 17 had stolen the remote away from him. "How did you get that?" yelled Dr. Jero. "Does it really matter? You are not in charge of anyone anymore," declared 17, destroying the remote. 18 let out our other friend over there. "No, I haven't completed his programming. He's unstable," pleaded Dr. Jero. "This model is still inferior to me so it doesn't really matter." "Open him up," declared 17 after scanning him. "I can't believe this. I'm your creator. You should obey me. I turned you from worthless orphans into powerful beings of eternal life." Street trash that usually amounts to nothing now, soldiers of the new Red Ribbon Army. You're ruining all my plans for revenge and world domination. The ranting doctor stopped at the huge spike in killing intent from one of the Z fighters. Everyone looked back to see Naruto staring down the doctor with red slitted eyes. You're nothing more than Madara and Orochimaru wrapped up into one bastard. I would have let them kill you. Suddenly Dr. Gero felt a presence standing right beside him. But as an ex-worthless orphan who made something of himself, I can't allow a bastard like you to take even one more breath. The Naruto standing beside him struck with a blow that sent the doctor flying headfirst towards the original who was waiting for him. Futon Rasengan, wind release spiraling sphere. The attack tore right through the doctor from head to toe, leaving nothing but dust behind. That takes care of that nuisance, now let's open up 16. Said 18 as she opened the pod. Unleashing another android will mean the end of all of us. No! Yelled Trunks as he transformed and prepared to fire a huge energy blast only to be stopped by Piccolo. Calm down. Firing a blast from that close could destroy us all. We don't know what else he has in that lab. Yelled the Namek. Yeah, we might be able to find something inside later that can help us. Added Gohan. Vegeta glared at his son. You fool. You've done nothing, but show them how weak you are. Damn it, don't you guys understand? Another android could destroy us all. Exclaimed Trunks. Well, it's too late now. Look, he's awake. Stated Naruto, regathering their attention. Now standing with the other two was a large hulking android with red hair. That guy's huge, stammered Krillin. Well, good morning. It must be nice to finally be awakened from that coffin. How long were you in there? Questioned 17. The tall android merely stared ahead, not responding. Are you even able to speak? Asked 17. Dr. Gero told us it was dangerous to activate you, so is it true? Do you have anything to say? Inquired 18. Again the android duo was met with no response. Anybody home in there? The strong and silent type EH? Let's get out of here. Said 17. Where to? Asked 18. Complete the mission, what else? 16. Dr. Gero programmed you with a mission to destroy Goku, right? Inquired 17. Yes, that is correct. Responded 16. So you can talk. Replied 17. He must only be able to respond to commands involving his mission. Remarked 18. I didn't think the old man was that smart. Let's go see if he can complete his mission, finding Goku and destroying him. Declared 17. Suddenly they disappeared and then reappeared outside the lab away from the Z fighters before taking off. What the hell just happened? Said Naruto, scratching his head. Who cares? They're gone and we're safe. Good riddance, said a sighing Krillin. You fool. They're going after Goku, exclaimed Tien. My dad is still in no condition to fight right now, said Gohan. Why the hell are they still following his orders? They rebelled against him. Countered Naruto. I don't care why or what they are doing. How could they just ignore me like that? I get it, they're afraid. Proclaimed Vegeta. No, you idiot, they're going after Goku. We must retreat and regroup with him and attack when he's better. Pleaded Trunks. Silence, boy. I do not have to wait for Kakarot. I am a Super Saiyan of a royal bloodline. Those machines are nothing to me and I will prove it. Declared Vegeta as he transformed and took off after the androids. Don't think I'm going to let you have all the fun. Declared Naruto, following him right on his heels. Why can't they understand? The androids are too strong to face without Goku, exclaimed Trunks. What should we do now? Asked Krillin. Whatever it is, we better make it quick. It won't take those too much time to catch up with the androids. Said Tien. We have no chance of winning without all of us together. We have to go after them. Declared Trunks. Those two won't back down from a fight though. And no offense, but they are the two strongest fighters we have right now. Why no let them take a shot? Suggested Gohan. Gohan's right. Let's go, keep it honest. There's no time to waste. Ordered Piccolo as he and the others powered up and flew after Naruto and Vegeta. The three androids landed on a mountainside road. Why are we stopping here? Asked 18. I'm going to steal the next car that passes by here. Replied 17. You really are a fool. We can fly. Why would you want to take a car? Responded 18. Because we've never done it before. Replied 17. Hey 16, we're taking a car trip. You want to go too? Do I want Goku? Replied 16. 18 shook her head, he's got nothing but Goku on the brain. Just then Vegeta and Naruto sat down in front of them. Boy, I do not need any assistance. I will handle these machines myself, announced Vegeta. Hey, who said you could have all the excitement? If you're a good little man, maybe I'll let you fight the big guy while I take the twins, retorted Naruto. No way, he looks like a stiff. If anything, I should get the little ringer leader and you can have the girl, countered Vegeta. I didn't know you swung that way, Trunks will be so disappointed, mocked Naruto. Vegeta merely grunted in response. You hear that, 16, you gonna take that? Inquired 17. Show us what you can do, 16, destroy them, declared 18. I refuse, replied 16. You refuse, who does he think? Began 17 only to be cut off by 18. Who cares, we can handle this. You can have the short ugly one, I'll take the new guy, stated the blonde android. What was that? Raged Vegeta as Naruto doubled over in laughter. You know what, you guys aren't so bad. Way cooler than the previous two stiffs, this should be good, stated Naruto after calming down. Whatever, just make sure you don't get in my way, said Vegeta. First one to finish gets the big guy, proposed Naruto as he began to power up. Well, I guess that means a 2-for-1 special for me, replied Vegeta with a smirk. You really do swing that way, don't you? Retorted Naruto. Stupid brat, grumbled Vegeta. The two powerhouses stood there with their auras blazing furiously as they stared down their respective opponents. The androids remained unfazed by their opponent's display of power. I don't want them getting in our way, follow me, stated 18 before flying off a short distance away. Too bad, now I won't be there to bail you out after I'm done with this nuisance, mocked Vegeta. After this is all over, I'm going to beat the living daylights out of you, retorted Naruto as he flew after her. You want to have a go after them? Fine by me, don't come whining for a rematch after you lose, shouted Vegeta to his retreating form. Now android, are you prepared to face the greatest power in the universe? 17 sweat dropped, this guy is so full of himself. Vegeta charged at 17 and unleashed a furious assault of punches and kicks, putting the android on the defensive. After 17 blocked a powerful kick, Vegeta exploited an opening and landed a punch that knocked the android back. Vegeta then reappeared above him and landed a double axe handle that sent 17 crashing into the ground, creating a small crater. He followed that with a volley of rapid-fire energy blasts. After the smoke cleared, 17 rose from the crater with his clothes a little torn, but no worse for wear. Vegeta's strength is far beyond my expectations. Can he actually beat me? Not a chance, thought a smirking 17. What's the matter? Did you short a circuit? That's too bad because I'm just getting starting, gloated Vegeta. Well, then small fry, bring it on, replied 17 with a beckoning motion as Vegeta charged in once again. The pair of blondes landed in a rocky clearing a short ways away on the side of the mountain. The pair stared down each other, Naruto with a cocky grin and 18 with a nonchalant expression. Naruto increased his power level and eased into his demon form. Well, aren't you the tough guy? What are you supposed to be? Some kind of half man, half beast? She taunted. No, half ninja, he responded before suddenly vanishing and reappearing right in front of her. Half demon. He struck with a quick punch and roundhouse kick and then followed with a double axe handle, only to be stopped by an elbow to the gut. He suddenly vanished and reappeared behind her, launching a kick from her blind spot. She turned at the last second and grabbed his leg and spun and threw him. Naruto caught himself in mid-air as 18 charged after him, throwing a punch, which passed right through an afterimage. She then gracefully dodged a kick from above her and landed a punch to Naruto's head that sent him flying. He caught himself in mid-air again before he could smash into the side of the mountain. She puts the old hag's super strength to shame. If she wasn't supposed to be some sort of killing machine, I'd totally take her out for some ramen. Who am I kidding? I still might, thought Naruto as he rubbed the spot where he was hit. You've had that stupid grin on your face the entire fight. What is going on in that thick skull of yours? Questioned 18 as Naruto suddenly got a glazed look in his eye. On second thought, maybe I don't want to know. I better stop playing around. It's time to kick this up a notch, declared Naruto as he made his trademark hand sign. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Mass Shadow Clone Technique. After the smoke from the technique cleared, 18 was stunned to find herself surrounded by 2,000 Narutos. Alright, sorry to keep you waiting, but the real fight begins right here, yelled all the Narutos. 18 was immediately on the defensive as she was swarmed by a group of the clones launching attacks from every different angle. Somehow she managed to dodge or block every attack until she found an opening and began a counter-assault, destroying clones left and right. After getting annoyed at how tedious it was becoming, she released a massive wave of energy around her, destroyed all the clones. As the smoke dissipated, she scanned around to find him nowhere to be seen. She looked up to see a spark of light high in the sky and then realized it was Naruto heading right for her at high speed. She braced herself for his assault only to realize that he was picking up speed and had no intention on slowing down. Death strike of the heavens. He roared as he collided with her and exploded. A massive crater was created and suddenly a rock at the edge of the crater revealed itself to be Naruto. "Let's see how she liked that one," stated Naruto with a smirk. The smoke at the bottom soon cleared to reveal an unharmed 18 with rips in her clothing surrounded by an energy shield. "This sucks, now I have to get new clothes," complained 18 before shrugging and discarding her tattered jacket. "Well, it's not like those were that great either. I packed a ton of power into that clone. And she's worried about her clothes? What the hell are these guys made of and where can I get some?" thought Naruto. "You're a tricky one, aren't you? Too bad your organics will eventually tire out, while mine stay strong," asserted 18. "Don't worry, I've got stamina in spades, we can keep this going all day," retorted Naruto. "Oh, really?" she replied before suddenly reappearing in front of him an inch from his face. She stroked his face sensually before continuing. "Perhaps we should test that out somewhere more private?" Naruto blushed bright red as she suddenly breathed into his ear. Really?" he stammered, barely keeping himself together. "Maybe." She lingered on before suddenly nailing him in the face with a punch that sent him tumbling across the battlefield. "That was so not fair," he whined while scrambling to his feet. "You have your tricks, I have mine," she replied with a smirk. "Touché," he replied before charging after her. Soon their thunderous blows could be heard echoing throughout the area. As 17 and Vegeta were in the thick of their battle, the rest of the Z fighters arrived on the scene. 16 tossed them a brief glance before going back to observing the fight. "Looks like we're too late to stop either of them. I can sense Naruto's battle a short ways away from here," said Tien. "Well, let's see what they can do," stated Piccolo. "Maybe I underestimated his power, my father's is actually holding his own against 17. Could he actually win?" thought Trunks as he observed the fight. Suddenly Vegeta connected with a vicious 3-punch combo that slammed 17 into the ground hard. "I don't know what you were so worried about, Trunks, just look at him go. He's unstoppable," said Krillin. "Maybe," replied Trunks. "Looks like we have some company." "What's this Vegeta calling in for reinforcements?" taunted 17. "They're just here to watch. I don't need help from anyone. I'm a Saiyan elite who's become a Super Saiyan. No power compares to mine. Very few people are willing to work as hard as I have to gain such power, and I will not be denied my rightful place as the greatest warrior in the universe," proclaimed Vegeta. "Too bad, you had to work so hard to gain so little," mocked 17. "Yes, too bad, for you," yelled Vegeta as he blitzed 17. On second thought, maybe the android knocked a few brain cells loose because that last comeback line was just pathetic. Deadpanned Krillin. After the two began exchanging blows once again, it became clear that the tables had now turned with Vegeta barely able to keep up. 17 shrugged off his blows like they were nothing, but most of the time Vegeta was barely able to touch him. "This isn't working," yelled Gohan. "He's waiting for Vegeta to burn through his energy before retaliating. He's right, with every move Vegeta loses power while the android stays strong," added Piccolo. "Father, you've got to stop this. Let us help you," pleaded Trunks. Vegeta rose from the ground after taking a vicious blow from 17. "Silence, boy. I don't want your help. A true warrior fights alone," gasped Vegeta. 17 turned to face them before speaking. "You really don't get it. It wouldn't matter if all you ganged up on me at once. You stand no chance. We androids are now the superior." "Hey android." 17 turned to look at Vegeta only to be nailed with a blast of energy. "Never turn your back on Vegeta, especially now that I'm a Super Saiyan. You never know what kind of surprise I have in store for you. Now feel the power of a true Super Saiyan," yelled Vegeta as he launched another massive energy blast at the android. The smoke cleared to reveal 17 standing there with his hand outstretched in front of him, smoking with a smirk on his face. So, it's going to be that kind of fight? Well then I have few tricks up my sleeve as well. 17 pointed his index finger at Vegeta and fired a narrow energy beam right through his left shoulder. "Ah!" screamed Vegeta in pain, grasping his arm. "What's the matter? Not enjoying my little surprise?" 17 quickly appeared behind the Saiyan and kicks him in the back, sending him face down into the ground. He proceeds to stomp on his injured shoulder, enjoying the Saiyan prince's screams of pain. "I'm only doing this for your own good, teaching you some humility. For the prince of about 3 people you have way too much arrogance," mocked 17 as Vegeta soon lost his golden glow and his hair turned back to black. Seeing his father now lose the ability to fight, Trunks could no longer hold himself back. "No, father!" yelled Trunks as he transformed and blasted off right towards 17 and brought his sword around, aiming for the android's head. Without even looking at him, 17 moved his arm up to block the attack, shattering the blade in the process. "How?" stammered Trunks in shock at his broken blade. "I told you not to interfere. I guess I can't play around anymore if this is going to be that kind of fight," he responded before suddenly reappearing inside Trunks' guard and kneeing him in the gut. The Super Saiyan from the future doubled over in pain before dropping his transformation and falling to the ground unconscious. "You were no fun." "Vegeta lasted much longer," commented a disappointed 17. "Well, that and I'm using more power." Tien and Piccolo joined the fray, appearing on both sides of 17. Tien aimed a punch that 17 dodged effortlessly before backhanding him into the side of the mountain nonchalantly. Piccolo launched a kick at the android's face only for 17 to block and land a punch in his gut that doubled the Green Warrior over. 17 then grabs him by the throat and begins to choke him. "What's it gonna take for you weaklings to learn? You don't stand a chance," mocked 17 while squeezing down harder on his throat. Piccolo brought his hands up to try and free himself, but he could not break the android's grip. "No, Piccolo," exclaimed Gohan. "I can't let this happen. It's just like with Frieza. I won't sit back and watch my friends die again. That's enough," roared Gohan with his power spiking. "Oh? And what are you going to do about it, kid?" gloated 17, squeezing even harder on Piccolo's neck. The Namek's hands fell to his side as he began to lose consciousness. "Leave my friends alone," roared Gohan as his power exploded and he transformed into a Super Saiyan. Before 17 could even react, Gohan was upon him, delivering a haymaker that sent the android flying into the side of the mountain. "Gohan!" stammered Piccolo in awe of his pupil. "You're incredible, Gohan. You've become a Super Saiyan," yelled Krillin from below. "Stand back, you guys. This fight is mine from here on out. Get these guys some senzu beans," ordered Gohan before he streaked off after Android 17. "Where the hell did that come from?" said 17 too as he removed himself from the side of the mountain he landed in. That kid exploded with more power than the others. His musings were stopped when Gohan appeared in front of him. "That was a nice shot, kid, but what makes you think you can take me head on now that you've got my full attention?" stated 17. Gohan just stared him down defiantly. "Nothing to say? Well, after I'm through with you and your friends. Your dad is next." This proved to be the wrong thing to say as Gohan suddenly exploded with power. "Not on my watch," roared Gohan as he charged and landed a kick to the side of 17's head. He followed by landing a left cross and then began to pound away at the android's gut. He then landed an uppercut, knocking 17 backwards and proceeding to stomp on the android's chest in midair before a strong kick sent 17 towards the ground. "Look at him go, I can't believe it," uttered the now revived Trunks. "This boy has far more power than I could have ever imagined," observed 16. "Gohan," whispered Piccolo in awe. 17 caught himself in mid-air only to stare at Gohan in shock as his furious assault continued. "Masenko ha!" Gohan fired the blast which 17 blocked by crossing his arms in front of him. Gohan reappearing right in front of the android and hitting him in the face with an energy blast at point-blank range. 17 crashed into the ground, forming a crater. "Hoo-ah!" roared Gohan as he unleashed blast after blast of energy down at the android, not letting up in his assault. "This boy, his power is still growing," thought a shocked 16. Gohan halted in his energy blast assault, bringing his hands back to the side for a finishing move. Kame, Hame, Ha! The wave tore through the air at 17 and triggered a massive explosion. "Oh man, Gohan really put the whooping on that guy. No messing around, just took it right to him, said Krillin, bringing his arm up to shield himself from the explosion debris. Yeah, but was it enough? Muttered Piccolo as he observed the heavily breathing Gohan. He went for the finishing blow right away. That plus the transformation cost a lot of energy. The debris from the explosion soon cleared to reveal 17 surrounded by an energy shield. Nice moves, kid, but did you really expect that to finish me? Questioned 17. Not even a scratch, thought Gohan. Gohan put everything he had into that assault, and it didn't even faze him, uttered a freaked out Krillin. 17 rushed Gohan, putting him on the defensive, barely blocking the android's furious assault. 17 eventually broke through his guard and landed a blow that sent the newest Super Saiyan flying. Come on, what happened to all the power you had a minute ago? Mocked 17. Damn it, how powerful are these things? Screamed Piccolo in frustration. Gohan staggered to his feet, leveling a glare at 17. He charged and aimed a hard kick to the android's face. 17 leaned to the side to dodge before spinning and landing kick of his own to Gohan's head that knocked him out cold. Now you know you have no chance against us. I'll leave you to stew in your defeat. Let's go 16, 18 should be done by now. Ordered 17 as the large android joined him before they flew up to where they sensed the other battle. 18 had decided to kick it up a notch in their fight. Naruto managed to keep himself in the fight with her increase in strength and speed by lacing the surround area with clones and using substitution to avoid critical damage. That was until he accidentally grabbed her breast while trying to throw her. Why don't you stop dodging and take your punishment like a man? Roared 18. I'm not that stupid. I'm telling you it was an accident, replied Naruto, dodging an energy blast. Really? She stopped and questioned, causing him to pause. Yeah, I was trying. He suddenly doubled over in pain, grasping himself from where she just kneed him in the groin. That was a cheap shot, he gasped. You touched mine, I touched yours. Now we're even, she replied with a smirk. She then picked him up by the shirt and flung him into the side of the mountain before blasting him with an energy blast, burying him under tons of rumble. Well, aren't you having fun? A voice rang out. She looked up to see 17 and 16 floating above her. Took you long enough, she responded. Took me long enough yet, your fight was still going on. He retorted. Whatever. Are we done here? She asked while floating towards him. Yeah, let's go find us a car, he replied. They stopped in their tracks when they felt a power from below them. They looked down to see the ground shake before busting apart and Naruto emerging from within. Where do you think you're going, huh? I'm not as easy as those other guys. Our fight isn't finished at all, he exclaimed. Look at you, you hardly look like you can continue, replied 17. Naruto's shirt had been torn off and his upper body was littered with bruises and deep cuts. Oh, this isn't going to be a problem. Just watch, stated Naruto, flaring his power. His red energy healed away all his bruises and cuts and his energy level returned to full strength. 17 stared in awe while 18 gave the shirtless warrior an appraising eye. This fighter is now restored back to 100% of his capacity. I have no knowledge of such a technique in my database, stated 16. Neither do we. I must say for a flesh and blood type he's not bad, commented 16. He should be tired out by now, yet he's back to full power. Interesting, his stamina is nearly as good as ours, added 17. We have no records of you at all from Dr. Gero. Who are you? Asked 17. I would like to know what you are as well. Your energy signature is far different from the other beings on this planet, stated 16. He claims to be a half-demon, supplied 18. Demon? Come on now, that is just ridiculous, said 17 dismissively. You, a android built to kill an alien, are questioning the fact that I can be part demon? Are you serious? Questioned Naruto. Well, then what's a demon doing hanging around that band of idiots? Shouldn't you be out stealing people's souls or something? Taunted 17. For the record, I was born as something similar to the humans of this planet. Various circumstances caused me to become like this. I have a question for you though, what is the point of all of this? I know you're not following Gero's orders. And you have no grudge against Goku, you've never even met the guy, said Naruto. It's just a game to us. We're just looking to have some fun, supplied 17. A game? Puzzled Naruto before a smirk crossed his features. Alright, I'll play. You guys go ahead and get started, I'll make sure to drop in later to have some fun. Sorry for all the trouble we've caused. They didn't understand what kind of game this was. He flew back towards the rest of the Z fighters, laughing up a storm. Finally, a sensible one out of their group commented 17. You're just happy that you found someone as juvenile as you are. Retorted 18. Don't think I didn't see you checking him out just now. He remarked. Now let's go, I want to find a nice car to steal. After getting everyone healed up with senzu beans, everyone regrouped at the site of Naruto's battle with 18. So they just left talking about driving a car for fun or something. Informed Naruto. They just left without doing anything else? This doesn't make any sense. The androids of my time were ruthless. Their idea of a game was torturing and killing. Muttered a baffled Trunks. We already know that. The timelines have shifted, these aren't the same androids. Growled Piccolo in frustration. It's not just that, these androids are much stronger than the ones I fought. They were stronger than me, but not this much stronger. Stated Trunks. Maybe, it could be that Dr. Gero's thought process was changed when making the androids in this time. Said Gohan. Trunks gave him a questioning glance. What do you mean? Trunks, in your timeline my dad was already dead from the heart virus, so Dr. Gero would have known about it and his goals would have changed. Revenge would have been useless, so he would have stopped working to make them stronger. Explained Gohan. So what you're saying is that in this timeline he focused on making them strong enough to beat Goku and never got around to making them insane killing machines. Surmised Naruto. Gohan nodded. Exactly, in the other timeline he must have focused on turning them in killing machines to pursue his goal of taking over the world. That still doesn't change the fact that these androids are still very dangerous. Reminded Piccolo. No, but if we can prove ourselves superior they may back off. Countered Naruto. So what do we do now? Asked Tien. We need to wait for Goku to recover before making our next big move. Stated Trunks. I will not depend on Kakarot, thought Vegeta as he clenched his fists in anger before flying off at high speed. Trunks turned to go after him, only to be stopped by Piccolo. Let him go. His pride and abilities were just crushed. He needs to reevaluate things. Advised Piccolo. Hopefully, he'll learn from this. Fighting alone is one thing, but fighting only for yourself. He'll become much stronger if he becomes less selfish. Added Naruto. That guy is just too stubborn though, I don't think he'll ever understand something like that. Said Krillin. Gohan then spoke up. We can't let the androids get to my father. Maybe we should move him somewhere else. You guys work on getting Goku back to full strength and keeping him away from the androids. I've got something to take care of. Don't follow me, declared Piccolo. Care to enlighten the rest of us on your plan? Inquired Naruto. No, I don't. This is something I have to do alone, he stated before flying off. What is he up to? Questioned Gohan. Krillin stared at the direction he was flying in before an idea popped into his head. Maybe, just maybe, he's going to reunite with Kami. If he really thinks the situation is that desperate he might do it. Answered Krillin. What will that do? Asked Trunks. Kami and Piccolo used to be one being. Master Roshi once said if they had never separated he'd be the strongest there is, even stronger than a Super Saiyan. He'd be a Super Namek, proclaimed Krillin. This super thing again? Completely lame, mocked Naruto. Let's get back in focus here guys. Where should we move Goku to? Questioned Trunks. Let's take him to Master Roshi's house. They wouldn't think to look for him there. It is far enough from Goku's house to buy us a lot of extra time. Suggested Krillin. Alright, let's split up. Gohan, Krillin and Tien, you go and get Goku ready to move. Naruto, you and I can head to Capsule Corp to get my mom to loan us a ship to move Goku. Ordered Trunks. Good thinking. By moving him that way our powers can be suppressed so they won't be able to track us. Added Tien. Good, hopefully your mom will have some supplies. Said Naruto with an evil gleam in his eye. Supplies for what? Inquired Krillin. Don't want to ruin the surprise, but trust me it will be good. Let's go, he yelled as the 5 fighters flew off to their respective destinations. Much to 18's ire, 17 chose to hijack a pink delivery van. The androids were currently cruising down the highway at moderate speeds. Why of all things did you steal this van? If you wanted fun you should have picked a fast car. Complained 18. Just, sit back and enjoy the ride. I already told you it's not about how fast we get there. Replied 17. Do you even know where Goku is? She asked. We'll try his house first. Relax, 16 at least knows how to do that. He replied. The large android was staring out the window with a smile on his face, enjoying the scenic view. "Whatever, wake me up when we get to the next town," she said while leaning her seat back. "I want some new clothes." Vegeta stood on the edge of a cliff deep within the mountains and thought. The humiliation of his defeat at the hands of Android 17 hung over him, the battle replaying over and over in his mind. "I don't understand, how could I have been beaten so easily? Like I was nothing," ranted Vegeta, clenching his fists in anger. "The Super Saiyans of legend were unrivaled. I am their descendant, royal blood flows through my veins, how could I be defeated by mere machines?" He stared up into the falling rain with lightning flashing and thunder echoing around him. The storm was seemingly a physical manifesting of the frustration and turmoil swirling inside his mind. "Even the Kakabrit did better than I did, and he transformed just then. I could feel his power fluctuating, and one point it reached even higher than mine," he thought. "Could it be that I have not reached the plateau, but only the beginning of the Super Saiyan powers? Perhaps there are higher goals for me to reach, and I have yet to obtain the true peak of my potential," he declared. Vegeta yelled with fury as he powered up and transformed into a Super Saiyan. "I will ascend beyond my current limitations and obtain great power like there has never been seen before. And then I will destroy those androids and prove once and for all that I am the greatest warrior in the universe. Then I will show the rest of those fools, especially Kakarot and that other clown, who is truly the best," he proclaimed. Naruto and Trunks were having a conversation about their respective journeys to join up with the Z fighters when they sensed Vegeta's fluctuations in power. "You feel that?" asked Naruto. "Yeah, it was my father." "What is he up to?" questioned Trunks. "He lost, right? Must be pissed off and pounding the crap out of a training area." "Well, that's what I would do," replied Naruto. "You lost too. Why aren't you doing that right now?" stated Trunks with a raised eyebrow. "I didn't lose. They left, so it was a tie," declared Naruto. "Right," replied a smirking Trunks. "So tell me more about the other world." Naruto continued from where he left off as the two sped through the air towards Capsule Corp. High in the sky upon the lookout, Mr. Popo watered his plants as Kami sat in deep meditation. Their peaceful day was disrupted by the arrival of Piccolo as he stormed towards Kami. "Piccolo, good to see you," stated Kami. "I can't say the same. You know what I've come here for, old man," replied Piccolo. "Yes, you wish for us to fuse and become one being once again. However, I cannot acquiesce to your request at this time," answered Kami. "What is the hold-up, old man? Don't you understand what's going on down there?" yelled Piccolo in outrage. "These androids are not the biggest threat out there. So far they have done no harm to this planet. They spared all of you in battle when you could have easily all been destroyed," responded Kami. "It's nothing but a sick game to them," retorted Piccolo. "I don't believe so. There is a much darker presence that is lurking in the shadows. It has been growing stronger for the past few years. I will make my decision when this new threat decides to show itself," said Kami. "Fine, I can wait. Let me know when you're ready," grumbled Piccolo as he took a seat and began to meditate. A few days had passed since the skirmish with the androids. The group minus Piccolo, Vegeta, and Naruto were now at Master Roshi's house waiting patiently for Goku to recover. Naruto had vanished, and according to Bulma, he and her father had taken over the audio-video production sector of Capsule Corporation, working on some project. Apparently her father kept ranting about finally giving some poor excuse for a scientist what's been coming to him for years. Krillin, Trunks, and Gohan currently sat outside discussing their predicament. "I still don't get it. You guys are a lot stronger than in my time, but so are the androids. If you were at the levels you're at right now in my time, we would have stood a great chance at winning," said Trunks. "When my dad wakes up we'll find a way," stated Gohan confidently. "I still can't believe you're a Super Saiyan, Gohan. At your age too, you're shattering all the record books for strength," said Krillin. "Yeah, in my time you didn't become a Super Saiyan till much later," added Trunks. "I've always had explosive power. Whenever I get really mad and just lose it, my power increases, but I could never sustain it. I was just lucky my rage pushed me to that level. Even so, it still wasn't enough," replied Gohan. "I don't know about it not being enough. You had the best shots on that android all day, even better than Vegeta," exclaimed Krillin. "Still, I could feel it, and Vegeta probably felt it too. We could still be stronger." We've been acting like Super Saiyan is the peak of Saiyan abilities. I feel like we can do better and still become stronger as Super Saiyans. Suggested Gohan. You're crazy, I mean Super Saiyan power is already mind-boggling as it is. What could possibly be beyond it? Questioned Krillin. I don't know, but Gohan is right. We need to find a way to somehow surpass our current limitations. Maybe we've only scratched the surface, pondered Trunks. Well, I'm going to see how Goku's doing. You coming? Asked Krillin as he stood up to walk back in. Sure, what about you Gohan? Asked Trunks as he moved to follow him inside. Nah, I'll stay out here for a while, he said as he stood before moving out to the water. He transformed into a Super Saiyan before going through various exercises. That kid, just like his dad, muttered Krillin. As the two walked in they noticed everyone gathered around the TV. Bulma turned and gathered their attention. Hey guys, come check this out. That's the capsule commercial set. It must be what they were working on, exclaimed Bulma pointing at the television as the commercial began. The scene is of a guy, Kakashi, getting shut down by a girl at a bar. Having a hard time closing the deal? Questioned the voiceover. Scene shifts to a guy, Sasuke, trying to repair a hole in his blow-up doll. Tired of settling for those lame blow-up dolls? Asked the voice again. Scene shifts to a guy, Jiraiya, grouping a woman and them getting the crap beat about him. Is this the only type of action you're getting? Inquired the voice. Scene shifts again now to a guy, Orochimaru, disguising himself before entering a gay bar. Have an itch you don't want other to know needs scratching? Scene shifts to a bunch of women fleeing from a guy, Vegeta, after seeing his face. Have a face that only a mother could love? Then Dr. Gero appears on the screen in a red suit with a gold cane and a pink fedora hat. Hello, my name is Dr. Ono Gero, the world's #1 expert in robotics, and do I have the solution for you? Gero's mechanical hose. Android 17 and 18 walk onto the screen placing an arm around each of Gero's shoulders. Real-life androids that respond and cater to your every fantasy no matter the gender or orientation. It's even better than doing it with a real person. I used to be a crazy old nerd with delusions of conquering the world. Now I'm the biggest pimp the world's seen since Don Juan. Call today. The scene shifts to Hercule Satan finishing a workout. Yo, it's the champ Hercule Satan here. Being the world's toughest man, I got a reputation to keep up. That's why when I really want to cut loose I call on my model 17. He's everything a guy could ask for. Android 17 entered the room dressed in nothing but a man thong and hugs Hercule. There's no need to be on the down low when you can call for a Gero's mechanical hoe. This company is a subdivision of Naruto Incorporated, stated a voice as the commercial ended. Everyone in the room stared at each other in shock before erupting in laughter. Oh, man, I know he's going to get us all killed, but that was just too funny, gasped Tien between laughs. This is epic, exclaimed Krillin as he rolled around the floor with laughter. Even Trunks was beside himself with laughter. After picturing them as insane killers for so long, this is just too much. If the androids don't kill him, Vegeta will, roared Bulma. Hello? Hello? Is this Gero's mechanical hose? Everyone turned to see Master Roshi on the phone. Get me a Model 18 immediately. Hello? Hello? The room erupted in laughter once again. Upstairs Chi-Chi was puzzled by the roars of laughter. What is going on down there? Said Chi-Chi as she turned to see Goku laughing lightly in his sleep and chuckled. So you're in on it too, huh? At Capsule Corp, the two masterminds behind the commercial observed the fruits of their labor. Ah, splendid job we did, don't you think? Declared Dr. Briefs sipping a cup of coffee. Indeed, replied Naruto taking a sip of his own cup. As they cruised down the highway through a city, 17 noticed that the various cars passing them by kept honking at them and giving them cheers of adoration. The people of this planet are all idiots, he muttered, only to be interrupted by a phone ringing. He looked up to see a cell phone strapped to his visor. Where the hell did this phone come from? He asked. Who cares, just throw it away, said 18. I'll answer, it might be fun, responded 17 as he placed it on speakerphone and answered the call. Hello? He spoke. Hello? Dude, is this Gero's mechanical hose? Responded the voice on the other end. What? Exclaimed 17. Dude, I want an Android Model 17, but can you make him look less gay? It's a present for my sister, said the caller. What the hell is going on here? Roared 17 as 18 snickered at him. You're right, it was fun. She mocked as he chucked the phone out the window. Obviously, it's a lame attempt by that guy to make this more interesting. He'll have to do better than a crank call, stated 17 offhandedly. His sister rolled her eyes at him. You're just jealous you didn't think of it first. Suddenly a orange ball of cloth smacked against the windshield, unwrapping itself against it so they couldn't see. 17 slammed on the brakes, bringing the van to a complete halt. The trio looked up to an advertisement spread on the orange cloth like it was a banner. On it was a picture of Dr. Jero's head with his mouth drooling and a nosebleed staring at the image of 17 posing in a man thong. Jero's mechanical hose was displayed in large black print. 16 started chuckling at the sight of it while 18 roared with laughter. 17 merely stared upon the horrible sight in disbelief before his eyes narrowed. You win this round, funny man, but the next will be mine, he mumbled as he stepped outside the van to remove the orange monstrosity. He soon found that the van had somehow been painted orange and banners containing the same advertisement had been glued to the sides and back. Arg! He screamed in frustration, gaining the attention of several people on the street. Dude, you rock! Yelled a random guy passing by. Look mommy, it's the man on TV! Shouted a little girl who pointed at him from the sidewalk, then pointed up towards a giant screen on top of building playing the commercial. How shameful! Shouted mother as she covered the child's eyes and carried her away. 17 kicked the van in frustration. Come on, now I have to find myself a disguise, said 17 as he sped away on foot. What a day this is turning out to be. 17 gets humiliated and I get new clothes. Guy really knows how to court a gal, said 18 as she and 16 followed. Naruto smirked as his clones dispersed to relay back the information of 17's reaction. Ha ha ha. This is only the beginning, thought Naruto. His future planning was interrupted by what he was hearing from Dr. Briefs on the phone. Well, you were right, it is his vehicle. I could have sworn the boy took it with him. I wouldn't expect Trunks to leave something like that lying around. No worries, I'll send him out to pick it up, said Dr. Briefs as he hung up the phone. What happened? Asked Naruto. Apparently one of our employees found Trunks' time machine in the wild out near Ginger Town. He doesn't seem the type to leave stuff lying around, stated Naruto. The odd thing is that it looks like it's been sitting there for some time. I'll call Bulma and have her let him know, he said as he picked up the phone again. Maybe it's another time traveler? Yeah, right, like it would happen twice. Now he's probably going to disguise himself, thought Naruto as he returned to prank planning. Trunks, what were you thinking leaving your time machine in the middle of nowhere? You're in big trouble, mister, screamed Bulma as she hung up the phone. Wah, 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 wailed baby Trunks as if to say, I didn't do anything. Not, you little guy, cooed Bulma as she rocked the baby to calm him down. The irresponsible teenager you became, she declared, leveling a glare at the older Trunks. Mom, it's right here, I swear, pleaded Trunks as he pulled out the capsule containing his time machine. See, right here. Wait, but then how is there one here? She puzzled, holding up a piece of paper. This is impossible. Maybe it's a different vehicle that just looks like it, he exclaimed while reading the paper. Whatever it is, we need to go check it out, said Krillin, reading it from over his shoulder. You guys stay here and hold down the fort. I'll go with Trunks and Bulma to check it out, offered Gohan. That sounds like a good plan. I'll go upstairs to relieve Chi-Chi. Maybe playing with the baby for a little while will cheer her up, said Krillin. A short time later, Gohan, Trunks, and Bulma found themselves searching through the area the time machine look-alike was spotted. It's around here somewhere, said Trunks as he searched through the foliage. Hey, I found it. Over here, yelled Gohan. Trunks and Bulma followed the sound of his voice and came face to face with the time machine. Yeah, that's definitely it. Let's see, he said, pulling out a capsule, pressing the button, and throwing it. The capsule revealed his own time machine in pristine condition. So this second one doesn't belong to you after all, commented Bulma. No, it's the same, take a look at this, Trunks said, stepping up to the second machine and wiping away some dirt on the side to reveal the words and symbol for hope. In the future you put this on here before I left to come back the first time, he said before pointing to the ship he just pulled out. It's in the same spot on the other one too. So how did this one get here? Bulma asked, puzzled by the situation. Someone or something used this machine to come to the past, and by the looks of it they did it a long time ago. said Gohan as he examined the interior of the vehicle, finding two eggshell-like objects. What is that? Asked Trunks, looking at the things in Gohan's hands. Let me see, said Bulma, taking the objects away from Gohan. It's definitely some type of egg, she said, looking them over. But what hatched from it? Whatever it is, it made that hole, replied Gohan, looking up at the roof of the vehicle. There's not a lot of energy left, commented Trunks as he pressed various buttons on the machine's console. How can this be? According to this, the ship arrived 4 years ago, 1 year before I arrived to warn you guys. So the timeline had already deviated before you even arrived. No wonder so many things have been different, said Gohan. You guys, what is that? It's disgusting, yelled Bulma as she pointed at what looked to be a giant creature a few yards behind the ship. Trunks walked over and touched the thing and looked to see slime on his finger. It's molten skin. Whatever came from the time machine shed its skin and left, stated Trunks. That still doesn't explain how it got in the ship or who sent it, said Gohan. It's out there now, not far from here, but we don't have time to deal with this, replied Trunks. Let's get out of here. Someone else can investigate more thoroughly, declared a creeped-out Bulma. That's fine, Gohan said as Bulma opened a capsule revealing an airship and hopped inside. I'll meet you back at Roshi's, she said before taking off. The two fighters quickly followed. Piccolo was beginning to lose patience waiting on Kami to make up his mind when suddenly the elder Namek stooped up with a look of horror. My goodness, this is far worse than I ever imagined. What happened? Is it the androids? Demanded Piccolo. No, the evil being has revealed itself, and it must be stopped at all costs, stated Kami with a look of resolution on his face. What do you mean? Asked Piccolo. Don't worry, you will understand everything after we merge, replied Kami. Kami, no, pleaded Mr. Popo with tears in his eyes. So you've finally come to your senses, old man, said a smirking Piccolo. Yes, I believe in you, Piccolo. You will use this power to do what is right for this planet and its people. It is what must be done, Mr. Popo, stated Kami. Alright, but we're going to use my body, added Piccolo before they began. Agreed, now just place your hand on my chest, ordered Kami. Piccolo placed his hand on Kami's chest and Kami yelled as a bluish-white aura surrounded him. A few seconds later there was a bright burst of light and only the body of Piccolo remained looking down at his hands. Kami, yelled Mr. Popo as his old friend vanished. He now stared in awe at the presence of the being who now stood before him. Both Kami and Piccolo are now gone. The Namek who long ago sought to protect this planet as its guardian has returned, he declared as he blasted off the lookout. Naruto sat at a desk within Capsule Corporation's main laboratory scribbling out ideas for his next move against 17. Dr. Brief sat on the other side of the room watching the television waiting to aid in their next caper. Now, I could use that idiot from the TV again, Satan. Or I could travel around and give him a peeping reputation like Ero Sennin. Arg. So many options to choose from. His thoughts were interrupted by the doc. How bizarre, gasped Dr. Brief, staring at the television in disbelief. What's going on? Naruto asked him. Come look at this report. It seems people are mysteriously vanishing in Ginger Town, replied Dr. Brief, still not looking away the screen. Naruto stood from his seat and walked over to view the television. A reporter was on the screen surrounded by empty piles of clothes. As you can see, nothing seems to be left of these people but their clothes. There seems to be no evidence to provide any sort of theory on what's happening here. The police have ordered people to. The sound of gunshots in the background startled the reporter. Oh no, what in the... The signal cut out, leaving a standby message. This is serious, I have to go check it out, stated Naruto as he slipped into his fighting gear. Do you think it's the androids? Questioned Dr. Briefs. Naruto shook his head. No way doc, not their style. They would just blow everything up, not make people disappear. Where is Ginger Town? Dr. Briefs pointed it out to him on the map on the wall. Naruto concentrated for a moment before phasing out of view. As he appeared high above Ginger Town, Naruto sensed two energy signatures he couldn't identify. He kept his power level suppressed as he moved discreetly through the town to not alert them of his presence. If need be, I should prepare for an ambush, he thought to himself as he jumped over the rooftops. He suddenly halted his progress and dropped down to a discreet location behind an empty building. He peeked around the corner witnessing Piccolo gripping his shriveled arm while facing down some giant humanoid insect creature. The thing was green with black spots and was wagging its tail behind it. What the hell is that thing? It must be responsible for whatever is going on around here, and it looks like Piccolo is next. I need to move fast. He thought, only to be stopped by a telepathic message from Piccolo. I'm trying to interrogate this thing. Stay hidden until he gives us what we want. Then we make our move, ordered Piccolo. Alright, I'm moving into position. Give a signal when you're ready, replied Naruto through the link as he prepared for a surprise attack. I may not be a match for you, but you won't stand a chance against the others, declared Piccolo. You have no idea how powerful I really am. Vegeta, Goku, Gohan, even together they are no match for me, gloated the creature. If you're so confident, why don't you tell me who you really are? It's not like it will make a difference, stated Piccolo. Fine, I will grant you this one final request. My name is Cell, I am an android, the single greatest creation of the brilliant Dr. Gero. In order to create the perfect warrior, Dr. Gero fused all the traits of the greatest fighters the world has ever seen into one being. He recognized that the task would not be completed in his lifetime and left the work to his supercomputer while he pursued other projects. Lifetime? Dr. Gero made himself into an android. Wait, that means he is not from this timeline, thought Piccolo and Naruto. Cell continued, the computer soldiered on in his absence, working to integrate the cells of the greatest warriors. The ruthless Saiyan Nappa, the young and promising Gohan, Dr. Gero's greatest enemy Goku, the prideful Prince Vegeta, the tyrant Frieza, and even you Piccolo, all woven into my DNA. I see, that's how you knew the Kamehameha, you inherited it from Goku. It's also why I sensed so many different fighters from you, concluded Piccolo. Yes, I have already obtained the best you have to offer, replied Cell. Tell me this, how did you manage to gather our cells? I think we wold have noticed any suspicious people, inquired Piccolo. It's very simple. Dr. Gero has tiny tracking devices the size of a housefly. You never would have even noticed them had I not pointed it out to you. The devices record data and collect specimen for the supercomputer deep with the lab to use, replied Cell. We need to examine that lab thoroughly and destroy everything, thought Piccolo. The thoughts of Naruto were a bit different. Maybe if we go through his lab we can find something to use against them. If all this is true, then why are you here? How did you get here? Asked Piccolo. I suppose one more answer won't hurt. I cannot reach my full potential from the power of humans alone. I require a certain source of power, that of androids 17 and 18. After I finally developed to this form, I discovered that androids 17 and 18 were somehow defeated by Trunks, preventing me from obtaining my ultimate form. Unfortunately for him, I discovered that he possessed a time capsule. I disposed of Trunks and regressed to my larval form to use the time capsule to return to this time a few years ago where I was sure the androids still existed. I understand now. In his time, Trunks was returning to inform us that he defeated the androids. Cell hijacked his time machine and ended up here instead, polluting our timeline even more. I've answered enough questions for now. It was interesting meeting you, Piccolo. Pity you couldn't provide more of a challenge, stated Cell. I'm not done yet, yelled Piccolo as he ripped of his shriveled arm before roaring as he regenerated it. Cell smirked. Ah yes, I see you were stalling for time and information. I should have known. With your friends so close, the odds are no longer in my favor. Damn it, you guys have the worst timing, yelled Piccolo as he sensed the incoming power signatures. He turned back to see that Cell had suppressed his power and vanished. Naruto emerged from his hiding spot perplexed. How the hell did he do that? 1 second he was there, the next, gone, no trace of him, said Naruto. I don't know, all I know is that our problems just became a lot bigger. Let's wait for the others to get here, replied Piccolo. A few minutes later Gohan and Trunks arrived at their location along with Tien. What happened here? Asked Gohan. Yeah, we sensed all sorts of strange energy signatures, added Tien. Hold on a minute, I'll explain when Vegeta gets here, replied Piccolo. Seconds later the Saiyan Prince landed looking for answers. Namek, what happened here? Demanded Vegeta. With the group all gathered, Piccolo proceeded to report the information he obtained from Cell. So, what do we do now? Questioned Naruto. In the words of Shikamaru, this just became troublesome. I'll face this Cell eventually, but right now I have more important matters to attend to," declared Vegeta. "What, the androids?" asked Trunks. "No, he's going to try to ascend," replied Gohan. "So the brat has figured it out as well, and I know Kakarot will do the same. Once I have ascended beyond a Super Saiyan, the androids and Cell would be nothing to me," proclaimed Vegeta. "Is that even possible?" questioned Tien. "Of course, if it was futile he wouldn't even bother with it," answered Naruto. Vegeta smirked in agreement. "Fine, then I'm going to try and track down Cell. He'll be easier to find than the androids," stated Piccolo. "I had a clone tailing the androids earlier. They were taking their time trying to track down Goku. They were nowhere near here, so Cell should have his own troubles finding them," commented Naruto. "I'll help Piccolo track down Cell," decided Tien. "I'm going to wait for my dad to wake up. When he's ready we'll meet back up with you guys," stated Gohan. "I'm going to Jero's lab to see if I can find anything. If I do I will use my clones to transport the stuff back to Capsule Corp. Between the Doc and Bulma they may be able to find a weakness in Cell or the androids we can exploit. After I've gotten all I can, I'll destroy it," declared Naruto. "I'll go with you then, perhaps I can find answers to defeating the androids back in my own time as well," said Trunks. They all nodded in affirmation of their respective plans before taking off to their respective destinations. Naruto and Trunks arrived at the entrance to Jero's lab, finding it just as they left it before. The duo entered the main room with Naruto moving over towards the various monitors and equipment while Trunks looked through the pods containing the androids. "The rest of these pods are empty," he commented while looking into the ones that were unopened. "Yeah, he apparently destroyed all models besides the ones we've faced so far," commented Naruto. "There seems to be nothing of interest here. We need to find the entrance to the supercomputer that's building Cell," stated Trunks. Naruto looked around the room and spotted a panel sticking out on the center of the back wall. He walked over and lifted the panel to find a green button. After he pressed the button the wall slid apart from the center, revealing hidden elevator. "Nice find, this must take us down to the hidden lair," stated Trunks as they stepped inside. The elevator hummed, taking them down deep underground. It stopped and opened, revealing a short passageway that ended at a massive steel door. Trunks pried the door open and stepped inside. Naruto followed behind him, flipping a switch on the wall, turning on the lights. "This must be the housing for the master computer," stated Trunks looking at the giant monitor in front of him. "And this must be Cell," said Naruto, stepping in front of a glass water tank containing a small green blob. "He's still in the early stages of development. Hard to believe that little thing contains the cells of the greatest fighters in the world." Naruto had moved over to the main console and lifted a set of plans off the main desk. "This is useless. Plans for a self-heating pot? What the hell?" Trunks picked up another set of blueprints and gasped in shock. "I don't believe it." "What?" asked Naruto, looking over his shoulder. "Plans for Android 17. Looks like we hit the mother lode." Trunks shook with excitement. "Yes, we have. Everything is right here. With these plans we might find a weakness to exploit." As Trunks scanned over the plans, a white square on the left wall caught Naruto's attention. As he moved closer to inspect it, he saw that the square was sticking out from the gray metallic wall. He pressed on the square and the left half of the wall rolled back behind the right, revealing a separate room. He walked in to come face to face with tons of monitors and machines. He soon recognized the room for what it was. If that was the mother lode, then this is a gold mine. It's a freaking android assembly factory, he stated in awe. Trunks stood behind him, equally shocked. He must have been planning on building more androids once he perfected 17 and 18. Added Trunks. "The equipment and computers, everything you need to build an army is here," said Naruto. "We need to destroy this place," declared Trunks. "No. If the blueprints failed to provide a weak point, examining everything here will. Or maybe we could go in another direction," declared Naruto, thinking the last bit to himself. He formed a mass of clones and one started barking out orders on how to move the equipment. "What are they doing?" questioned Trunks. "Hauling all this stuff back to Capsule Corp. Only your mom and the doc will be able to make any sense of all this stuff. With the blueprints and all this, we're guaranteed to find something. Let's go report back the good news." He grabbed Trunks by the shoulder and they vanished from the lab. Bulma nearly fell out of her chair in surprise as Naruto and Trunks suddenly appeared in front of her. "Don't do that," she scolded them. "Sorry, but we've got great news. We investigated Dr. Jero's lab and found blueprints for the androids, declared Trunks. What's that I hear? You found something that incompetent fool's lab? Questioned Dr. Briefs, peeking his head through the door. More than that, all his equipment he used for making them was there in pristine condition. I've got a bunch of clones working on hauling it all back here right now, replied Naruto. I see, between the blueprints and the equipment maybe we can find a weakness, surmised Bulma. That or maybe more, muttered Dr. Briefs, scratching his chin. Naruto gave him a smirk, letting him know he was thinking the same thing. So much for all you muscle heads, this time brains will save the day, gloated Bulma. Maybe Mom, maybe, replied a hopeful Trunks. 17 What are you doing? Let's go, yelled 18. As soon as she went shopping for new clothes, her brother disappeared. 16 hung out in the park in the center of town ever since they arrived. Now she finds him hiding out on a rooftop, disguising himself using a bandana to cover his face, some sunglasses and a hat. Hold on a sec, look over there. 17 pointed down to a small stand across the street. 18 looked down to see two Narutos wolfing down bowl after bowl after bowl of noodles. She was still confused. It's him again, so what? Why are you hiding up here? I'm not hiding. I figured out how he pulled it off. You said he could make copies of himself, so he must have been using the copies to tail us this entire time. Those must be them. Just listen to them, said 17. 18 leaned over and focused his hearing on the duo. Ah, such great ramen. The boss would be pissed if he knew we were eating all this ramen instead of him, rambled the clone as he ordered another bowl. It's ramen. The boss would commend us for providing him with the memory of such an outstanding consumption of the greatest food ever created, replied his partner. I hear that. Old man, 10 more bowls. The first one yelled out. That thing's been there for hours eating and ranting about ramen, ranted 17. So what? Questioned 18, not following. Now I have something against him. Come on sis, it's time to teach that punk a lesson, declared 17. Okay, I think he's finally lost it, she thought the last bit to herself.
That's all for now. If you want to see next part, then please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.